your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Yes. Taking you up to 2 p.m. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports. By the time this show is done, we will be more than about halfway to the halfway point through the week. And we are going to get you there in very impressive fashion because Sean Cunningham is always impressive. He joins us at 11 o'clock.
Here's Sean Cunningham. Who? I don't know.
The Kings tip off, during our show. What is that, at 12:30? So we are going to kind of be giving you, obviously not exact play-by-play, but letting you know what's happening in that game. And for all of you that care about that summer league championship, this is basically a must-win for the Kings. They're 8 undefeated teams, right? So this is the last game of kind of the mini season, if you will, the kind of opening round. And then from that, 4 teams will get to hang around and play for the championship. So it is a must win today for the Kings. And crazy enough, as much as it feels like the Kings have been whooping the you-know-what out of teams, they are in 4th. Everybody's undefeated. Like I said, those 8 undefeated teams, but the next kind of slot is the point difference. And the Kings are 4th there, which is crazy because some of these games just must be insane for the Kings to be 4th, where it feels like they haven't even really played a close game besides maybe that first one. So we will keep you up to date on everything that is happening there. How much would you pay or trade to be in the Eastern Conference, with Vegas or Seattle possibly getting one of those expansion teams? We were talking about the Timberwolves possibly being a part of that conversation. But now the conversation is kind of became, well, can anybody just move over? I mean, they're doing it in college, right? The Eastern Conference means, does it have to mean we are in the East, or can it mean we play Eastern Conference teams? And if they're able to pull off, I think it logistically makes no sense, but if they're able to pull off Stanford being in the AAC, having to go to, or the Big Ten, wherever they are.
I don't think it's that conference.
Which one?
AAC or
excuse me, ACC. That's the one that Temple's in. The ACC or the Big Ten, wherever the hell they are, and they gotta fly across the United States for a random game here or there. You would think that, hey, if Sacramento wants to pay a pretty penny to be in the Eastern Conference, let's just allow them to do it and kind of go from there. Logistically, I mean, these teams have to come to the West Coast anyway, so it is what it is. Maybe they just play a 2-game set while they're out there, and they kind of work that from there. So that is a conversation being had. I don't know how, obviously, a lot of things have to happen. The expansion teams have to get announced, and then NBA might say, no, only these teams are able to move to the East, and they start the bidding. Or they might say, yeah, any team can move to the East, and that can start the bidding. So no clue how that's all going to go, but Tim McMahon kind of closes the article saying, you got to be careful what you wish for at the same time. And excuse me, that was Kevin Pelton. You got to be careful what you wish for. I broke down how maybe in 10 years a team might regret it, and I'm still not sure how a team could possibly regret moving to the Eastern Conference just based on who is in the West. So we will break that down for you right after a break, which is not coming up for about 25 minutes. This is your 30 minutes of commercial-free sports talk radio, which you will get at the top of every hour, so don't you move. Jauan Jennings, we're not sure if he wants to move or not, but we know he feels like he should be paid like at least a number 2 wide receiver. And, you know, it's always funny to me how fans will gush about a player, and as soon as they want to get paid their market value or closer to their market value, well, he's more like a wide receiver 4. We got to see what Ricky Pearsall can do. Okay. I saw one of possibly the wildest graphics I have ever seen in my life when it comes to the Niners wide receiver room. So this was posted by Chase Sr., who covers the Niners for Chat Sports. And I don't know that he made the graphic. I actually don't think he did. But the graphic says the 49ers wide receiver room. They got a picture of 5 dudes, okay? And one says torn ACL, MCL, okay? Jauan Jennings trade request, all right? Another wide receiver, potential DUI suspension. Ricky Pearsall shot 11 months ago. And the coldest one of all, they just have a picture of a wide receiver, and it just says 5'9", 172 pounds. He didn't do anything wrong. Everybody else has something actually going on. This guy's just short. That's all they said.
Just not going to make it, brother.
That's all they said. Hey, you got one that's healthy. He's just tiny.
He's just 5'9".
Yeah, he's just 5'9". Torn ACL, trade request, potential DUI, shot 11 months ago, 5'9".
Same size as Allen Stiles.
5'9", that's it. So that's an issue. And if I'm Jauan Jennings, I would show John Lynch this photo. Look, man, you got Brandon Ayuk, you got someone who's 5'9", you got someone who's been shot, and you got a potential DUI situation. Looks like I'm at least wide receiver 2. So we'll discuss how that stuff changes so much when somebody wants to get paid a certain amount. And I don't think Jauan Jennings wants to move, but I do think he could be a really good number 2 somewhere, an outstanding number 3. I don't think he's a number 1 guy, but I do think that he has more leverage than maybe some feel like he has right now, because we don't know if Ricky Pearsall is good. They got 5'9" for, for one of the receivers. Ricky Pearsall, he's got to be barely 6. I don't, when I watch him, at least he doesn't look, I know Cooper Kupp is a random 6'1", 6'2", but Ricky Pearsall doesn't look like a huge receiver to me. He looks like a slot guy. I know he's a little bit bigger than that, but Jauan Jennings, it's third and Jauan for a reason, and you just paid Brock Purdy this money. This is wide receiver room,
Ricky Pearsall's Pro Football Reference has him at 6'3".
That's not possible.
6'3", 189 pounds.
You watched Niner games, right, Kyle?
I do.
Does he look like that?
He looks the same size as Cooper Kupp.
Okay. I mean,
he doesn't look short, but he doesn't look like an X receiver either.
No, he still does. Unless he's going to be Cooper Kupp, I'm taking Jauan Jennings right now. That's what I'm taking, Jauan Jennings right now over Ricky Pearsall.
Let's see what they have Jauan Jennings coming in at.
And watch, they're going to be the same size, and I'm going to look ridiculous.
Pro Football Reference, 6'3".
There's no way.
212 pounds.
That's not possible.
Jauan Jennings is bulky, apparently.
Watch the tape. Just watch the tape. And there were some tape measure shots in the swing off that happened last night with the home run derby. And I got to tell you, sometimes I'm get off my lawn. Sometimes I'm closer to Gen Z. Sometimes I'm closer to Gen X. And that's just the life of a millennial. I got to tell you, I was going back and forth with my wife about this because the word on the street when you saw the National League, of course, the National League, now that it doesn't matter where the World Series is going to be, feels like the National League wins all the time. They just couldn't deal with that pressure. But the swing off happens, National League wins, and everybody is talking about where's Shohei, where's Aaron Judge, where are all of these people? Susan Slusser comes out and says, and I believe she's there. It feels like she's there the way that she's been posting. Susan Slusser comes out and says, maybe you shouldn't let your stars leave, right? And what this came off to me, how this came off to me, was this is probably something that happens all the time, right? The starters play, they're done, they leave, do their media availability, and then they get the heck out of there. This is probably not a new thing, but in this swing-off situation, the game wasn't over yet, and everyone's thinking, well, where are the players? And Shohei and Aaron Judge are probably on a plane at that point. So there were two sides of this, and there were people really upset. I'm not going to name names because I don't want – I'm just not doing that these days. But there were people really upset. I saw somebody, a pretty prominent name in Bay Area sports out there in the Bay, and good friend of mine, but like I said, I'm not going to say names. I just stayed away from that this week. And he was really upset. Really upset. The back in my day was strong, and when people cared about the All-Star game, it's an exhibition. If this was still something that decided the World Series, then you'd have an argument, which is why maybe teams played harder, which is why they weren't interviewing pitchers while they have to throw to Shohei Ohtani and Ronald Acuna Jr. But the other part is that I think the All-Star Game deciding where the World Series has the home field advantage was stupid. It was stupid. You have a team that's won 120 games or whatever the heck it is, and you're away in the World Series to a team that won 80 because of an All-Star Game with dudes that aren't even in there. Maybe you had a couple of your players. So I already disagreed with that. So now that it is an exhibition, I'm not going to spend my time in a swing-off that was electric. Schwarber still balling out. I'm not going to spend my time complaining that Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani went home. I'll say this. It's maybe more lame to me that they went home, period, than the fact that they weren't able to participate. Because I think there is a very good chance. Aaron Judge is in his 30s. Shohei is, if he's not in his 30s, he's closer to 30 for sure than 20. There was a really good chance, especially with Shohei's injury history and Aaron Judge. These are big old dudes, man. There was a high chance that they would have said, I'm not doing it, right? I've been sitting for 2 hours. This game doesn't matter, right? Just go get, because everyone thought, oh, it's just like baseball. You can only use dudes that were playing. No, that's not true. But I guarantee you, the two faces of Major League Baseball after sitting for 2 hours doing something that they don't typically do. When is the last time Aaron Judge played in a game, then sat for 2 hours, and then had to do other stuff, right? Okay, so I'm going to go back. It just seems like a lot to do for an exhibition. If this still decided where the World Series and who was going to have that home field advantage, okay, let's have that conversation. But I'm glad it doesn't. Personally, you can disagree with me, but I'm glad. I think the best record, just like the NBA, the best record should have it. You know, if the NBA wanted All-Star Game to matter again, you do enough with this international USA, JUCO, whatever it is. You got dudes in the G League. You do East, West, and the winner, that same thing. They get home court in the finals. You know how ridiculous? Imagine the East wins, right? And the Thunder
had to go to Indiana for game 7.
Imagine that.
It would have been stupid.
It would have been stupid.
Which had happened a few times in baseball. And look, the origins of the All-Star Game deciding home field was just because Bud Selig looked stupid that one time that they had a tie, and he was shrugging his shoulders and got in his feelings and decided, I'm never going to look like an idiot again.
Yeah.
It was dumb from the start, and it always existed. The one thing that made me feel better about the swing-off situation, because I went to bed before, so I woke up and learned about it, is Roberts and Boone had to submit the lineups yesterday that they wanted to do it. So they must have done this in years past, because this has been around for years. We just never had a tie. So I guess there was an understanding before, like, hey, we're not going to have any of the starters do it. We're going to have people who I'm going to put it. Basically, the last 3 All-Stars who are going to check into the game are going to be the ones to do the swing off.
Yeah.
I think Suarez was supposed to do it, but he got hit in the hand, so he had to leave with cautionary injury situation. So they put like a Marlin in there or something. I think they just decided whoever the last 3 picks were for the All-Star team, those are the 3 that are going to hit for the swing off, which I think is probably the best way to do it for all parties.
They're all All-Stars. You know, I'm sitting I'm scrolling, and I was honestly just flabbergasted as to how people were so upset about this. Where is Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani? It's an exhibition. It doesn't matter. Kyle Schwarber got up there, and I could understand if it was a dud. Right? If it was a dud, I would still tell you that, you know, it's not that serious. But it would be more understandable if it was a dud and you're thinking, man, that could have been great. But it was great. It was great.
Yeah, Schwarber saved it.
You know, we were just talking about Nico Harrison before the show started. we don't, obviously you got to win something, but it could have been a disaster, but it wasn't because he got Cooper Flagg. So why are we going to talk about the fact that it could have been a disaster? He got Cooper Flagg. Did he luck out? Of course. But now he can walk around with a smile on his face. The Major League Baseball swing off could have looked terrible because they didn't have their super megastars, because there's still all-stars there. Kyle Schwarber is like, I don't know, maybe 2 levels below a name that everybody knows, right? A household name, maybe 2 levels.
Who's the basketball equivalent of Kyle Schwarber?
Man. It's weird because the first name that popped in my head was maybe Devin Booker, but I feel like Kyle Schwarber's actually maybe a bit bigger than Devin Booker because he plays in Philly and he's played on some big teams and had some big moments, but it's a little bit bigger than Devin Booker.
Yeah.
Is it Ja?
I was going to say like Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, I think that's all. It's all the same. Devin Booker, because of which one was he with, Kendall? I think Devin might actually be bigger than Jaylen Brown. Unless you're saying, let's not get caught up.
Yeah,
in this.
I'm just making a point. It's an all-star.
Mhm.
It's just not one of the 8 best players.
Yes. And, it is what it is, man. If you're up that late, watch it. You're still watching. Why complain about something that actually – so how would it have been better with Aaron Judge and Shohei? That's my are you just arguing the principle, or what are you arguing? Because it was really good. So how could it have been better with them when it was already really good? It just if it just would have been better if Shohei did it. It just would have been better if Aaron Judge did it. Maybe, but hey, they're on a plane wherever the heck they are. Who cares? Who cares? I think they could have stayed and just been there for the end of the game. As my wife was saying, you got the whole week off. I mean, where are you headed? But why? I got a private jet. They say I can leave. I've been there for a couple days now, and I want to enjoy as much time off as I can. So, I think they could have stayed, but I truly do not care that none of the big names were in the swing off, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I also loved all the pitchers in their street clothes coming back out. Like, oh my God, we got to watch this. Yeah. I think it was like Joe Ryan or something was in like a dress shirt and pulled up from the clubhouse.
So, you want to complain. I felt as if Major League Baseball did a pretty good job with the home run derby. I know people are always going to complain about ESPN, but felt like they did a good job on that part of it. And I think they did a good job yesterday. I don't like when the pitcher – at first I thought it was the catcher. I thought the catcher was talking them through everything. Then I realized it was Skubal, and I thought, this is insanity. Having to pitch to Shohei Ohtani while talking America through it is insane. I'm never going to agree with it. I don't care. It's out of control. The shortstops, I saw them talking. I thought it was really cool. Jacob Wilson and his dad, they were doing an interview, and obviously his dad, an all-star as well. That was really cool. But a pitcher is crazy. A starting pitcher is insane. And, of course, Shohei got a hit. I mean, again, to be honest, 9-hour game, I'm up and down, doing a bat time and whatever it is with Baby Styles. So I'm assuming they interviewed another pitcher for the National League. But that was crazy. That was insane.
What was that? Who was that one pitcher for the Blue Jays years ago who, like, they filmed him, they just mic'd him up. They didn't really talk to him. They just mic'd him up as he was pitching, and everyone loved it.
Right.
And then he stunk and got demoted to the minor leagues, but people thought that was awesome. I guess this is just the next step to, instead of just miking them up, what if we're actually talking to them in their ear, which
just unnecessary.
Is a step too far for you?
Yeah. You're letting people kind of talk us through the process, and then they can explain what Skubal is saying. Hey, Skubal is, and I don't know how much talking there is now with the pitch comm, and they got, whatever in their ear, but yes, whatever. Hey, can you not use pitch comm? Just go kind of classic, and we'll kind of, narrate what you're doing. I thought that would have been fine. Or you don't have to do anything. Just talk to the other position players. You just leave the pitcher alone, right?
I mean, I give baseball credit that they at least try. They have the best all-star game at this point, and I guess the reason is probably it's the closest to actual baseball that you're like their sports All-Star Game is closer to the actual sport than any other sport.
Yeah.
But I do think they take chances with the All-Star Game, and I give them credit for it, because when do we say baseball's taking chances with their broadcast productions, right? With all that, the ABS system went great. The challenging balls and strikes.
Jacob Wilson, I believe, challenged one.
Yeah. So that was great. The whole home run derby thing was great. Like, at least they're taking chances, even if some of them aren't going to work. Like the NBA All-Star Game is just worthless at this point.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think I need to have a pitcher try to talk us through them pitching to the best hitter. I guess in theory, when you say it out loud, it's cool. I just think maybe from my perspective, just knowing how that pitcher probably feels, like pitcher, I'd be on teams and we just don't even talk to the pitcher. You know what I mean? It's like just he's in his own world. I get it. It's an exhibition, but I just thought, hey, of course he got lit up. He's got to talk while he's trying to pitch an inning. So some good notes, some high notes for Major League Baseball and their weekend, where it felt like a lot of people were paying attention more so than in years past. And I think they hit on some things, and some things were just a little bit unnecessary. So a fair or foul on the home run swing off. I'm going to say fair. I did not have a problem with it. So throughout the next 4 hours, we'll talk about how much you would pay to be in the East. Yes, we have talked about this in theory, but it might be a real thing, says Tim McMahon from the Four Letter Network. Sean Cunningham joins us at 11 to break down everything that he took away from Summer League and what is next for him as he sat down with Scott Perry, Keegan Murray, and his level of eliteness on defense. Maybe the collective we have been downplaying him a little bit. And Kings play today, and it's a must win. Do you feel it in your veins? Do you feel it in your bones? Okay, this is what it's all about. It's what it's all about. You're going to take home the chip, hang the banner. I don't even know where a Summer League banner goes, but we're going to learn where to hang them.
It's a playoff game today.
It's a playoff. It's playoff intensity. Where are the XXL T-shirts? Go find them. Go find them. 4 hours with you, Allen Stiles, Sackdown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Fidium Fiber.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA3 Weather Center. It is Wednesday, out the door to a cooler start. Delta breeze, yeah, you feel that as we head through the afternoon. That's going to keep us a touch cooler today. Expect daytime highs in the mid to upper 80s with plenty of sunshine and the occasional breeze. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA3 News and the KCRA3 app.
It's about time they
fix that pothole.
Invented better windshield wipers.
made an internet that just works. Fidium Fiber Internet, starting at only $30 a month. It feels like Fidium. Offer available to residential customers only. Terms and conditions apply. See Fidium.com for details.
Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. It's Country in the Park 2, Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo. Along with the special guests, Mitchell Tenpenny, Low Cash, Vincent Mason, and Avriana. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more. Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo.
Sponsored by Tricks Racing Cage, Chicken Fingers, and Naturewood Home Furnishings. Tickets at CITPFest.com.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729. Or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Tune into Sacktown Sports this week for live coverage of the 153rd Open Championship from Royal Portrush. Brought to you by Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. I got to tell you, I am so excited to get this decking project started with Trex Decking and Railings. From the first time I stepped foot in the showroom last week, I was so impressed. So many color options, heat-resistant composite deck. What does that mean? That means I don't have to do any maintenance on it whatsoever. They even have a deck designer, so you can go online and see what your dream deck will look like on your house. Just visit Trex, that's Trex.com to get it started. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
It is peak summertime for Sacramento River Cats baseball. From July 18th through the 27th, we have 9 River Cats home games in 10 days at Sutter Health Park. It's the perfect time to bring the whole family for affordable, action-packed baseball and nonstop fun. With every game offering something special, don't miss the excitement. There's no better place to be this summer than right here at the ballpark with the Sacramento River Cats. Get your tickets at rivercats.com.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Fargo is only available on the smartphone versions of the Wells Fargo mobile app. Wells Fargo Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Buckle up, racing fans! Adrenaline is back in full blast on July 19th. It's chaos, carnage, and crazy fun with boat trailer racing and more at the Stockton 99 Speedway on July 19th. Don't miss the madness. Tickets starting at just $15. Get yours today at Stockton99.com.
Carmichael Dave here for my friends at American Energy Heating and Air. Yes, I always tell you they are a family-owned operation, been in business since 81, A-plus Better Business Bureau, but it is hot. We are in those Sacramento hot months. I want to focus on them being your second opinion partner. What does that mean? Maybe you've got somebody you're working with or you've worked with in the past in the HVAC world. Guess what? They want to give you a second opinion. How much does it cost? Nothing. You call them up and say, hey, can I get a second opinion on this deal? They come out and they either say, wow, that's a great deal. You should feel better about that. Or they say, we can beat that price. And usually they're going to beat it by a lot. Guess what? You just saved money and it didn't cost you anything to find out. It's a no-lose situation. Go with a trusted company. American Energy, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com. Jingle singers, take it away.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140
on Sacktown Sports.
Sean Cunningham joins us in 30 minutes. We will ask him about his sit-down with Scott Perry. Be sure to check that out on YouTube. Sean Cunningham of KCRA.
Here's Sean Cunningham. Who? I don't know.
So he will join us in 30 minutes, and we will talk to him about his biggest takeaways from Summer League, what he's hearing as far as the roster construction and how motivated the Kings are to do something else, right? Are they good with where they're at? Like I said, from my point of view and what I've heard, I don't think they are, but also how motivated they can say that they aren't, but also not be that motivated to make any more moves. So we will talk to Sean. You do not want to miss that at the top of the hour at 11 o'clock. We are still giving away Monster Jam tickets as well. So that's going to be at 1 o'clock. Make sure you tune in. And if you're listening on the app, you might want to switch over to AM or YouTube if you are able as we get closer to 1 o'clock and you want a chance to win those tickets. So this is from a kind of Tim McMahon article along with other writers from ESPN. And they're basically breaking down expansion and how that could affect the current setup, because both of the teams that are looking to expand, or both of those cities, are on the West Coast, right, in Seattle and in Vegas. So this is from Kevin Pelton, kind of a combo deal with Tim McMahon. As the NBA considers expansion, with Las Vegas and Seattle the most likely destinations, one battle to watch is which team might slide to the Eastern Conference to accommodate two newcomers in the West. Although that change is not imminent, the possibility seems particularly meaningful ahead of a season in which the gap between the two conferences could grow because of injured stars Halliburton and Jason Tatum, plus former Bucks guard Damian Lillard. A team employee relayed that their front office staff had once debated years ago how much they would trade to move from the West to the East, and the conclusion was a lot. But during Saturday's Hoop Collective live show in Vegas, new Timberwolves co-owners Mark Lore and Alex Rodriguez. By the way, we saw Alex Rodriguez and Frankie Cardicelli was like a kid in a candy store, and that was hilarious.
Did he get to meet him?
No. We were just it was in passing. It was after the game had ended, and I think the T-Wolves were about to play. But Mark Lore and Alex Rodriguez were reluctant to make their case as one of the leading candidates. I think you've got to be careful what you wish for, Lore said. It will be what it will be. Lori, excuse me. I was on the plane, and like I said, I was hanging out with my guy Chris, not Chris Watkins, but I was hanging out with my guy Chris, a listener of the show. We might be listening to the show right now. And we were talking back and forth, and it kind of came to me that the Kings basically are run like an Eastern Conference organization, right? If they were an Eastern Conference organization, they'd probably be slated right now. I know the East is going to be better, but they'd probably be slated right now to be in the playoffs, right? I don't think they'd be in the top 4 still, but you can make an argument we also don't know who's going to be in the top 4. I feel very confident saying the Kings would be in the playoffs, and we don't need to go through the teams. But with the Pacers, what they're dealing with, and the Celtics, what they're dealing with, and some unproven teams looking to make a step, and the Heat getting in their own way, I feel pretty confident saying that the Kings would be in the playoffs. The Kings essentially operate as if they're in the East. There's only one problem with that. They're in the West. They are in the Western Conference. And you look at some of the teams that are in the West, some of these dudes are going to age out. Steph, LeBron, KD, but there is a whole new wave. The East, that wave, I mean, and I didn't even mention Jokic, but the East and Giannis, that wave, he's going to be gone. Tatum's coming back from both Tatum and Halliburton coming back from Achilles. As I've mentioned, we've never really seen this before. Guys this young having to come back from Achilles. KD was a smidge older, still highly productive. Klay Thompson was a smidge older. So we just don't know what it'll look like. I'm not saying that they're not going to be who they want. I'm just saying we don't know. And obviously, we will see what happens with Paolo. We'll see what happens with Cade. But we don't need to see as much. I didn't even mention Luka. So, be careful what you wish for, which is what Lori is saying. Okay, I'm still going to wish for it, though. And if that was an opportunity for the Kings, I'm not trying to spend anybody else's money, but if it was just open-ended, which would be funny, right? Just, the Lakers want to move to the East. They would have the most money to do so, or they would be able to trade whatever to do so. But then that feels ridiculous. But we thought the college thing felt ridiculous, and it still kind of does, but we'll get over it, right? The way that the game has been changing, if this was the case, they would just throw Vegas in the East, right? There are teams in football that don't make sense. There are teams in basketball that don't exactly make sense, because if we're basing it on where the map is, you add those two teams, wouldn't you just wouldn't it just go to, hey, by default, it's just going to be New Orleans by default?
It would be either New Orleans, Memphis, Minnesota, maybe Oklahoma City, but probably one of those 3 teams by geographical reasons.
So if they don't want to open this up, it's pretty straightforward what it will be. That's the easiest way to do it. Okay, and I'm literally looking at a U.S. map as everything kind of lines up. Technically,
it's Memphis, right?
Technically, it's Memphis.
Yeah.
It would be Memphis.
And I think Memphis is the team that I think is most likely to make that jump.
I think that would be, and maybe they know. What did they know? We're going to hold on to Jaren Jackson because this is, and we got, by the way, I saw KCP in the casino, in the airport, and he was just sitting there enjoying his time.
In Vegas, those can be the same thing.
Yeah. Not saying they weren't, and he was just enjoying his time in a hoodie and some slides on. I'm thinking, oh, is he? I don't think he's on Southwest, but yeah, no PJ for KCP, which was just funny to me. But KCP, John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., you got Jalen Wells, that crew in
Zach
the East,
Edey.
Zach Edey, that crew, my boy G.G. Jackson, can't forget him.
Scottie Pippen Jr.
That crew in the East, that's top 5 seed. That's a top 5 seed in the East. So
would you? Here's a funnier question: which team do you think would be better, Memphis or Orlando, who just got Desmond Bane?
I would say Orlando.
Okay.
I would say Orlando, but that's me saying, hey, you know, is Paolo going to – this is me having the Justin Herbert, Paolo Banchero conversation. Is Paolo going to be who I think we all feel like he could be?
Well, I think that's an interesting gauge just because Orlando is the 4th best team in the East right now, most people would say, depending on how you feel about Giannis. Oh, we got something. Hit the button?
Yep, hit the button.
When it breaks,
We have it first.
it's Sacktown Sports breaking news.
5 minutes ago, breaking from Shams Charania, 3-time NBA All-Star Bradley Beal has agreed to a contract buyout with the Phoenix Suns and plans to join the Los Angeles Clippers on a 2-year, $11 million deal with a player option after clearing waivers, Priority Sports told ESPN. Shams goes on to write, the crux of the decision for Beal and his representation was finding the best basketball situation first and foremost once he was granted permission by the Suns to speak to interested suitors around the NBA. And the agency led an exhaustive process over the last few weeks. Shams continues. Beal became extremely excited about the route to part ways after meeting with multiple interested suitors, and Bartelstein then moved forward with the Suns on completing the release Wednesday, opening the path for Beal to start a new chapter in LA. And he's made so much dang money. Yeah, I'll do 2 years, 11 mil. Who cares? And, you know, obviously the contract buyout situation, he had to get paid there as well. So another team. Look, this is what we've talked about, and I believe it was Sam Quinn, if I'm not mistaken, of CBS Sports, friend of the show. Bradley Beal making $45 million a year, whatever it is. Bad Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal making $11 million on a 2-year deal.
It's basically it's $5.3 million the first year.
That's incredible, incredible value.
He's going to be a 6th man on that team too, because now they have a Keon Ellis, Malik Monk situation in the sense of Chris Dunn.
We will take a little break here and kind of rehash all of this, what this means for the Western Conference. I want you to do this during the break, though. Completely flip how you feel about Bradley Beal. Because this is basically liken it to Zach LaVine. Imagine Zach LaVine, what you just watched, instead of being paid $45 million, the Kings just got just got Zach LaVine for $5 million a year. So change how you feel about Bradley Beal. Oh, because Bradley Beal, no. Bradley Beal making $50 million, bad. Bradley Beal making $5 million a year, incredible. I know he's been a little bit injury prone, but that whole team, the old guard, as they've been called, the Clippers, the Lakers, and it's really just LeBron, the Warriors, all they want to do is get to the big dance. So let's break down what this means for the West as another team that I think we questioned whether they would still be around just based on health. How does that change moving forward? And has another juggernaut been created? Down South, Sacktown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khtk.com.
Hagen Oaks wants to be your go-to total golf game fitter. Try the TrackMan experience, the very best technology to fit your metal woods and irons. The new cutting-edge putter fitting studio with its $30,000 worth of technology is ready for your fitting. Hagen Oaks will help you find the best putter for your game. Hagen Oaks offers more technology, more choices, and more service. Schedule your fitting at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio by calling 916-808-2531, 808-2531 for more.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and skip the regular line at the airport and pay for speedy security. Imagine not having to quickly unpack and pack at the place you already came packed to. And wearing your shoes the whole time you're there? You can't put a price on that kind of luxury. Well, actually you can, and you paid for it. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sinks overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The summer sales out at Maida Chevy. Save $4,250 off MSRP. Every new Colorado Z71, ZR2, and Trail Boss in stock. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Must be current cost with Gold Star Business or exempt member. Can be combined with other offers.
Live and local.
It's Allen Stiles
On Sacktown Sports.
Sean Cunningham will join us in 15 minutes, giving you updates on all things Kings offseason, any rumblings and rumors that he may have heard. And he also sat down with Scott Perry. So we'll talk to Sean about what he discussed with Scott Perry. If you haven't seen that clip, be sure to check it out. KCRA YouTube as well. And what does Bradley Beal joining the Clippers mean for the rest of the West? Brett Siegel of Clutch Points adds, Beal will be getting the remainder of the Clippers MLE and will hit free agency next summer with his player option to try and recover his losses from the buyout in Phoenix. Chris Paul is expected to also follow Beal and sign with the Clippers, league sources told Clutch Points. I'm just making a joke here because obviously, Brett's my guy. Chris, do the Clippers know that? Do the Clippers know you plan on showing up? Because it just feels like we haven't heard anything about Chris Paul. It's been very quiet.
Just that he wants to be near his family.
Yeah, I'm going to LA. It kind of reminds me of the story we'll tell a little bit later with me and one other person. I won't say his name because I don't know if he wants to. He can bring it up next time he's on the show if he wants to. But me and him, we didn't sneak into the NBA tip-off party. They just didn't know that we were supposed to be in there. That's how I'm going to say it. Chris Paul, do they know that you are joining their team again?
The Clippers were like, oh.
Yeah.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, Chris, what's up?
I didn't know your key card still worked. Hi.
So we will see what happens with that, and maybe that's why we haven't heard about Chris Paul, because he was just waiting for something like this to happen. He has no intention of going anywhere else. But as far as Bradley Beal is concerned, the money is the money, and we get all that, and that's why a lot of people did not view Bradley Beal as kind of that elite guy, or his PR was pretty dang bad. He had the no trade clause, and I'm just going to stay here and collect my money. It's not my problem that you paid me, and now he enters a different phase of his career. This is what Shams kind of wrote and broke down as well. Beal is giving back $13.9 million out of the $110 million on the final 2 years of his contract to complete the buyout with the Suns, who will likely waive and stretch the remaining salary over 5 years, sources said. The move allows Beal to serve as a major addition to a playoff contender in the Western Conference and gives the Suns increased team building flexibility by taking them out of the first and second apron, providing access to more tradable draft picks in the future, and opening up part of the mid-level exception to utilize. By the way, just if you were curious what other teams reached out, personnel across several other teams, including the Heat. The Heat are so annoying. Can I just say that? But the Heat, the Bucks, the Timberwolves, and the Lakers. So the LA teams, of course, I think all these teams make sense, even if the Heat are annoying me. I think all of them would have made sense. And it, just became a situation. Hey, if you're Bradley Beal, who do you think makes the most sense? Where do you want to be? Bradley Beal, this is no disrespect, he strikes me as a Clippers guy. I want to be in a big market, but I don't want to be in that. I don't want to be on the Lakers. I want to be on the Clippers. I think Clippers people are specific people, right? I want the big lights, but I don't want the brightest of lights. And that's no disrespect. I'm just saying Bradley Beal strikes me as a Clippers guy.
Who else is on this list that the Clippers have signed over the years? Obviously, Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons is a huge Clippers guy. Kawhi is just Kawhi. Paul George, Clippers guy.
Yeah, he just didn't want to play. He literally signed an extension with OKC just because he didn't want to go play with LeBron.
Paul George, Clippers guy. So I think it'll work out well until the bright lights are actually on. We know how Kawhi does with the bright lights, but I don't know how Bradley Beal does. I've never seen Bradley Beal play meaningful basketball, and I do know how James Harden does. But in all seriousness, this is a great move for the Clippers. Let's break down who Bradley Beal is, because like I said, it has gotten a little bit lost in the sauce with how much money he's been making. Last season, in 53 games, he averaged 17. And I don't even want to count this season because there was so much crap that happened with Bradley Beal. They wanted him gone, even though they agreed to trade for him and give him this money. And then they tried to force him to leave by just treating him as if they didn't really want him.
They treated him like garbage, hoping he would waive his no trade clause.
So he was on the bench. He was starting. He played 53 games, 17 points per game, 3.3 rebounds, 3.7 assists, 49.7 from the field, 38.6 from three, 80% from the free throw line. For his career, 21.5 points per game, 4.1 rebounds per game, 4.3 assists per game, 46.4 from the field, 37.6 from 3, 82% from the line. And standing at 6'4" as a shooting guard, Monty McNair got his guy. He's always going to get his guy.
His 6'3" combo guards.
As
always 6'3" combo guards.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where he goes. A 6'3", 6'4" combo guard will follow. So, yeah, but to look at Vegas, maybe Vegas hasn't updated yet. I am curious how, again, going to the conversation of the Kings dropping, right, as Vegas believes in other teams for the East and the West, how that affects the Kings. I'm looking here, Kyle, because obviously this thing just went through, but Vegas knows people are always on top of it. I'm double checking right here, and the Clippers are sitting at, they're pretty high up here. The Clippers are sitting at, you can get them anywhere from 46.5 to 49.5. So you could smash the under on the 49.5. You could smash the over on the 46.5. And there's also an option for 47.5. That is, and this is VegasInsider.com, and they have Bet365, MGM, and DraftKings. So in that note, oh my goodness, they have the Kings. I'm not even seeing 38 anymore. They have the Kings. Two of them have the Kings at 36.5, and one of them have the Kings at 34.5 wins.
But like we said, by training camp, it's going to be 20.5.
And I don't know if this stuff changed this quickly. I know it typically does because they know how these bettors are all over stuff. But, the Clippers now sit with the, I guess this looks like number 10, the 10th best win-loss situation.
Wait, 46 is tough.
Well, it's not 10th, but they have them listed out, and it just keeps getting less. So it's not in direct order, but it's kind of in order because of the difference in, obviously, the difference in
conference
books. The difference in books. So they're trying to basically average it all out. But, yeah, they're behind, just off the top of my head. In the 50s, you have the Cavs. The Thunder have 60. The Rockets have 50. The Nuggets are in the 50s. The Knicks are in the 50s. The Timberwolves are in the 50s. And that's it. So 6 teams, you get the Magic in the 50s, 51, 2 places. So the Magic at 51, and then that's it. So 7 teams you can find in the 50s, and then the Thunder in the 60s.
Must be nice to be in the East, huh?
Must be nice to be in the 40s. How about that?
Well, yeah.
Low 40s.
The low 4, again, that's 500. That's half the league. So I guess you're in the bottom 10 at this point. I mean, maybe there's like 7 Eastern Conference teams that are all at the bottom, though.
The Clippers get their guy. They're going to roll out a pretty strong lineup of Kawhi, James Harden coming off a really good season, even if Carmichael Dave and Kings fans don't want to admit it. And now they add Bradley Beal. They do essentially they lose Norman Powell and they get Bradley Beal, right?
And John Collins.
And John Collins.
They also, I kind of keep forgetting this too, they also signed Brook Lopez in free agency.
Yeah.
So their second unit now, just kind of eyeballing it, would be potentially Chris Paul, which, by the way, James Harden's now hit all of his former point guards, have all come back around to play with James Harden. Chris Paul, Bradley Beal, Bogdanovich, Batum, and Brook Lopez. That's a deep backup unit.
And with all that being said, as we're about to have on Sean Cunningham, this is the type of stuff we're talking about, right? It's an arms race. That's what it is. And are the Kings in a position to go to war with the rest of these teams? They're going to try. When we return, Sean Cunningham, KCRA, get your questions, 916-339-1140, and maybe I'll sneak them into Sean on the text line and the Sack Chat. Allen Stiles, Sack on Sports.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying forwarded. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card below 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Is your concrete sinking? Whether it's your driveway, sidewalk, or patio, those uneven surfaces are not just ugly, they're dangerous. That's where Groundworks comes in. They use state-of-the-art concrete lifting solutions to prevent tripping hazards, and they're the best at what they do. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Allen Stiles here with your Sacktown Sports Injury Update, brought to you by Downtown LA Law Group. Ken Waldachuk out with that left elbow sprain. We'll have another AAA Las Vegas rehab coming up, and his expected return is mid-July. Jose Leclerc, out with that right lat strain, is expected to return in the second half as he is playing catch 3 times a week, even though the A's expect a long recovery process. That was your Sacktown Sports Injury Update, brought to you by Downtown LA Law Group. It's Allen Stiles here. You injured at work? Call Downtown. DTLA Law Group, California's leading injury law firm. With over 40 lawyers throughout California, they have won over $500 million in settlements. DTLA Law Group will get you compensation for your work injury. You don't pay unless they win. That's right. You pay zero up front. Call Downtown. Text injury help to 40222. That's injury help to 40222. Visit them at calldowntown.com.
At Power Business Technology, we're not another big box corporation. We're your neighbors, locally owned and operated. We know what businesses like yours need, from reliable printers to high-performance copiers. We'll help you find the right solution with personal service you just can't get online. Need setup or support? We're just down the road and always happy to help. Power Business Technology, family hometown service with big-time solutions. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Plati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland, and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports 1140. Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Trying to move to the east from the west, what would be the bidding cost? Well, maybe there's more of a reason to do that now as the Clippers add Bradley Beal, and Bradley Beal is a guy who at $50 million, no thank you, Bradley Beal. At $11 million, not $11 million even a year, even though that would be chump change for Steve Ballmer and the crew. About $5.5 million a year. That's what we are looking at right now. So, and Sean Cunningham is going to join us. He just texted me. He's going to hop on in a second here. But where do the Kings go when you wake up this morning and you see what they're trying to do and you look around? Now, the Clippers, to me, I do think it's really relevant because the Kings aren't blowing it up, at least not this season. By the way, I have a note, and Kyle, this goes to what we were talking about. I was looking this up, and we'll talk about it more in the, later in the show. But Sean's about to join us, but I'm not kidding. I was reading last night that 2027, that draft class, everything we've talked about with every other year or whatever it is, 2026, with how good it's supposed to be. I read something last night, and I promise you, I'm not just doing the thing. The 2027 draft class is supposed to be awful.
Oh, bad.
Awful. 2027.
Yeah.
So let's say the Kings are doing what they're doing. So this is what's going to scare everybody. The Kings are doing what they're doing this season, right? They mess around, get another 14th pick. They decide to say uncle. They get their top 5 pick in 2027, which is, from what I've been reading, supposed to be worse than 2024.
Okay, so it's the lottery you don't want to win.
That's the one. Worse than 2024.
Do they really know? I mean, these are juniors in high school.
I'm saying what I read, college coaches were talking about how tough it is to find top tier talent for their schools.
That's crazy. There's no way.
So this is what the Kings are going to do.
What? So that's the high school graduating class of 2027. So most of these kids were born in 2009 or 2010. Like, what was happening in the world in 2009 that didn't produce star basketball players just across the board?
Fortnite?
Fortnite was not around that long ago.
2009?
2009. Fortnite was
That's
popular.
when they were born?
That's these. If it's the high school graduating class of 2027, that means they were born either in 2009 or 2010.
Yeah.
Which Fortnite was popular when I was in high school, which granted is not that far away from 2010, but it's not 2010.
So that's what I saw. And it is worrisome, but I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, right? And you can always find somebody, even though in bad drafts all the time, there's always somebody, but I was reading that last night and it just made me chuckle.
Look, this is why when we talk about tanking or developing young talent, as the Wizards owner calls it, to not call it tanking. When we talk about that, it's not about one draft or one player. You've got to stack multiple drafts on top of each other in order for it to be effective, because
I got it. It's from the same article. Tim McMahon and the crew. This one is from Jonathan Gavoni, who obviously does it, and we will get to that in a second here. But yeah, it's all in the same article. And let me just say this before we get to Sean: execs ring the alarms on the 2027 draft. That's the title.
But again, they're juniors.
I'm just saying.
There's got to be one, like, even 2024, which we point to as like, you don't want to win that lottery. Alex Sarr still looks like he's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, then get number one. Get number one and resachet, and you got to get it. Sean Cunningham joins us, and Sean, thank you so much for joining us. We know that you've been running around. We're both back from Vegas, so really thankful for you to take the time.
Here's Sean Cunningham. Who? I don't know.
Sean, how's it going? We got Sean.
Y'all got me. Sorry about that.
Yeah. We got you. How you doing, my guy?
I'm doing all right. I just realized this was the first time I've had my computer set up kind of deal since getting back from Vegas, and there's always inevitably like a step or three that I end up forgetting that I need to do. So I think we're good. So I hope everything's good. I still got a little bit of the Vegas fog in me, but I'm doing good. How are you, Allen?
I'm good. Jason asked me. I said I'm probably about 80%, right? I'm almost back to normal Allen from the Vegas shenanigans. It was a great time. You drove there and back, which is impressive in its own right. So I don't know how you pulled that off.
First time doing so, and the reason being is, not to get too personal, I suppose, but don't be like Sean, because he doesn't have the real ID situation figured out. I had to go through a little bit of a move, and different name on the birth certificate, biological father, a lot of drama there. Expired passport, which I should not have let happen, and now I can't locate the passport. So anyway, a lot of these little paperwork things. So I was like, you know what? I'm at a new station. Been there only a couple months, and I've got a whole hell of a lot of gear that is big and clunky, and you've seen it. So having a car would have been outstanding. They were going to rent me one, and I was flying by myself. I've had to do all those. If anyone follows me and seen the content, it's a lot of multi-camera shoots and stuff like that. So that's a lot to set up and a lot on my own and carry around in very crazy heat. So I kind of liked having the car. I'd never done it before, so a little bit of an adventure. And I like it.
Right. Well, all I was going to say was I, too, do not have the real ID, and my passport is expired. But if you did locate your passport, Sean, you could have flown, because you can fly domestic for, I believe, up to 2 years with an expired passport. That's how I got there. So now you know. But
little secret, Alan. It's over 2 years old, over expired. Yeah, so
I can't help you.
Don't be like Sean.
Yeah, don't be like Sean, but do be like Sean when it comes to the interview skill set. Great interview that you had out there, Sean, with Scott Perry. Go check that out on YouTube and on KCRA. So let's talk about that. You lugged all your equipment there, and you get the interview with Scott Perry, the newest GM for the Sacramento Kings. How did that go? What was your biggest takeaway talking to Scott Perry, who's talked to feels like a lot of people? He's done a couple broadcast interviews, but how did you feel like everything went, and what was your biggest takeaway?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was going to be a little bit of an extended interview. I mean, we went over 20 minutes, and I wanted to kind of see if he was going to keep that same energy from the beginning to the end, and maybe stay on some of the same narratives, because some people tend to get tripped up in a lengthy interview and maybe kind of reveal a little bit too much. And so I wanted to see him in that setting. Obviously, have a great familiarity with him before. I mean, he's been in the league forever, so people are always harping on relationships and the way he views the game, and just things that he's able to accomplish, having a lot of people around him, getting this organization access and into doors that historically have been closed to them. And a lot of that is people may not understand, but you're talking in terms of even draft workouts, agents even considering having their people meet. For example, I think Nick Clifford is an example of that. I mean, you're able to trade in the first round, but when they went to the combine, Nick Clifford never worked out for the Kings. So when they went to the combine, they were able to meet with Nick Clifford at the combine, have some face-to-face time, let them know that, he's a player that they have interest in. And obviously things can change very, very quickly. So I think some of those doors may have been closed to other regimes, maybe not the previous one so much, but certainly agents would steer clear. There was an era where they would steer clear of Sacramento for workouts, and even beyond draft. I mean, you're talking free agency. I mean, things that weren't even considered. So I like what Scott Perry brings to the table in talking to him. We've heard him talk a lot about the Sabonis and DeRozan combo platter, if you will. We've heard him talk a lot about his draft and obviously summer league and things of that nature, but haven't really had him talk about things like Malik Monk, Keon Ellis, Keegan Murray, especially with decisions, one decision that's already happened with Keon Ellis, maybe some narratives that are out there. Also just wanting to be like, yo, there's a lot of rumors, there's a lot of narratives. Do you want to put Kings fans at ease? Do you want to, address any of them or kind of shoot down any of them? And some of the stuff that he hasn't been asked straightforward about, and see how he navigates those waters, realizing that there's still a ton of offseason left. So I get the sense, and I think anybody hearing the interview will get the sense that while they're not done and it's never really a finished product, I think there's a curiosity and a very much a realistic approach, being that they've worked the phones and they've seen what the markets look like, that they're able to go into the season, if it were to start tomorrow, that they would be, I think, level-headed and comfortable. Maybe not exactly where they want to be, but certainly comfortable enough with the curiosity of saying, look, we made even before Scott Perry got here, they made a shift, and they've got a lot of these pieces available. And the one thing that everybody could talk about was that they don't have a point guard. Well, you do. And you also have another little plug and play piece. Can this guy from the draft and Nick Clifford, maybe even a possibility of Maxime Reynaud? I mean, I think it would maybe be a little bit too optimistic. Can they be in a position to contribute at the NBA level almost right away as guys that are a little bit longer in the tooth in terms of coming into the NBA from the NBA draft, being around 23 years old.
Yeah.
And I think there is that curiosity, and I think there is that optimism and that confidence in what Dennis Schroeder brings to the Sacramento Kings. And seeing what it looks like. It's certainly never going to be like, this is your finished product, but certainly I think there's a curiosity there.
Talking to Sean Cunningham of KCRA. I have more questions about obviously the offseason, but you mentioned some of the questions, and obviously go check out the whole interview on KCRA and on YouTube. But you mentioned Keegan Murray, Malik Monk. Let's go Keegan Murray first. I believe Scott was asked a question pretty early on in his tenure. It might have even been his intro presser, and he didn't really not that he didn't know what to say, because he's always really good with the media, but there wasn't a lot of meat on that bone when he answered the question. How do you think they view Keegan Murray with the extension, him being extension eligible? A couple of his draft mates just got extensions. How do you think they view Keegan Murray and I guess his ceiling?
That's a tough question to answer, because for a long time I've heard people talk even things that predate Scott Perry, like Keegan Murray being this quasi untouchable piece, and I'm never about that vocabulary. Like, nobody, you're a bad team, nobody's untouchable. Yeah. That being said, like, there are people you'd rather not trade, and I think there are situations out there. I think in terms of the commitment, I don't think that anything will be looked at too much of an overpay, considering what Keegan Murray, for example, has brought to the table, especially now being more of a two-way player than maybe when he first got into the league, and two-way players get paid. So I don't think that there's a fear of paying Keegan Murray. I don't think that there's an appetite to trade him either. So I think that he identifies both Keon Ellis and Keegan Murray as two players that they're willing to go forward and celebrate a great future beyond 2027 even. Because I know everyone talks about that cliff, and everyone has their eyes on 2027 in terms of when all this capital and money comes off the table and frees up. So I think they're comfortable with that. I think they're going to be, as he calls it, prudent and do their due diligence. And, I think they'll know what the market's like for him. And obviously you've seen the likes of Jabari Smith, who's been who's extended himself in Houston, and obviously from that same draft class. So I think bearing that in mind, but I think, his Keegan Murray's side of the fence also knows that there's a lot of bad contracts out there. Not to say that Keegan would be one of those, but if you're looking at the likes of, am I going to be a $25 million a year player in this new apron and collective bargaining agreement, when I'm looking over down the road at Portland, when they've got someone like, Jeremy Grant, who's making upwards of $35 million a year. That to me is maybe somewhere in between. You try to find the most he can get, but he's going to do what's right for him, and the Kings will do what's right for them as well.
Talking to Sean Cunningham, KCRA. Sean, one more for you just on the Scott Perry front. I've asked the question, and I've said that if I get put in a situation with Scott Perry, if he says those magic words, a platform of sustainable success, I'm going to ask him what he means by that. Because if you look at Monty McNair and Mike Brown the last couple seasons, that was success, relatively speaking, compared to where the Kings had been. So what exactly does he mean by that? Looking at the moves that they've made, Dennis Schroeder on a 3-year deal, you still got Domantas Sabonis, you still got Malik Monk, DeMar DeRozan is still there for a couple years, and obviously Zach LaVine. Do you feel like if this season doesn't go well, the whole kind of thing out with the Kings is that they just won't say uncle and hit the reset button? And I was talking to a lot of people in Summer League as well about that. Do you feel, I'm looking here, Sean, seeing the win totals as low as 36.5. Do you feel like if the Kings are an 11 seed or a 10 seed and they, lose in the play-in, do you feel like Scott Perry would go in the direction of retweaking, or do you feel like at some point he's the type of guy that would say, hey, we've tried it this way, this was kind of a leftover situation for me, it's time to hit the reset? Obviously you don't know, I'm just asking your opinion based on who you've been around and what you've gathered.
Yeah, I mean, there's at no point do I see or have heard them even talk about doing a full reset. And I think, to your point, in that scenario, keeping 2027 in mind, where a lot of money comes off the books, and you have, the closer you get to that mark, expiring contracts become so coveted, because especially with a lot of these teams trying to get off of money very, very quickly. I think to answer the point is, I don't think there's ever going to be a hard reset in these next few years. I don't think there's an appetite from it. I don't think there's an appetite for it within that organization whatsoever. And so I think it'll be still you can do so. I mean, people often point to what they did in New York under Scott Perry, and certainly a retooling, and I think you can reset the roster, but I don't think you're going to monumentally change your direction and alter course and try to get off what ultimately is sustained playoff success. And I think both Scott Perry and the previous regime under Monty McNair and Wes Wilcox, they both share that vision, and that ultimately what's at the top. What's the common thread? It's Vivek Ranadive. He has no desire to, I don't know if I'm still on the air or not with you guys. Can y'all hear me? Hello. Not sure if this is still working. I don't know if y'all can hear me or not. Maybe I'll get you guys on the phone. Oh, you guys can hear me. All right. Well, I'll go ahead, and I see people in the chat. I guess it's just me. So hopefully they get Allen back very, very quickly. Hello, YouTube. I don't know if I'm over the air in Sacramento, but to finish the question there, the appetite of rebuild versus sustained playoff success, I was drawing the picture of both the previous regimes in Monty McNair and Wes Wilcox, this regime under Scott Perry, B.J. Armstrong, and the common thread being Vivek Ranadive. There's just no appetite for the Sacramento Kings to have this hard reset. I think you can alter your course, your franchise. I think that's the hard reset. I think you can also look to push for playoff success, have pieces, have veterans, and have those types of players that look for the postseason and beyond to ultimately achieve those goals. And I think that's more in line with where this team is headed. Certainly you look at just this draft. I mean, you've got guys that are 23 years old. You don't have 18-year-olds. You've got a lot of draft capital still left. I think that there's a lot of desire to be able to pounce and be able to move when the needle is right, for the right move, and be able to move off of some of those things for the right pieces. And I think as we get closer to 2027, you'll be able to do that. Looking here in the chat here, I know there's just a lot of curiosity around what the Kings are going to be doing, and there's a lot of puzzlement too, because I think people would look at not getting enough for De'Aaron Fox, certainly still frustrations over firing the likes of Mike Brown, but also you look even before that, if they were really going to do that hard quote unquote reset, in my mind, you would have had to have done that well in advance. That would have had to have happened really before you extended Mike Brown and even flirted with the idea of extending De'Aaron Fox. So because of those situations, you're not really set up in my mind to be able to do a hard reset and try to follow the path of like a Oklahoma City Thunder, or even some of these young teams that are looking to try, like San Antonio right now. I think especially trying to build off of that playoff season, doing the whole run it back and try to get back into the playoffs, even though you're just a handful of games in the win column removed from what you did. You almost had back-to-back identical year from that, and it ended up being, I think it was 10th in the Western Conference, and you went from third tumbled all the way down to a play-in appearance. So if anybody has any questions that I might answer, I do see the chat. I could try to answer them. Hopefully they'll get guys back in Sacramento. It's funny because Allen Stiles was in Vegas, and I don't think you guys had any problems in Vegas. You get back to Sacramento, all of a sudden the whole thing crumbles down. I blame Allen. It's always Allen's fault. By the way, fun guy to hang out with. Vegas Allen, much different than the Sacktown Sports 1140 Allen, and I can attest to a lot of those guys being down there. They were well represented. Sacktown Sports was down in Las Vegas, but I will say, none of them. I think the majority of them a little tough to keep up with. They couldn't keep up with me. I kind of built different for this, so I was trying to show them Vegas in a very positive light and get them to get away from the basketball side of things, because summer league basketball, as you can all see, is kind of haphazard and a little bit bad, and it gets a little mundane after a while with game after game after game. So, what am I hearing about the Kings mid-level exception? Still available to them. Certainly the Dennis Schroeder thing, using a trade exception and putting a couple second-round picks on the line to bring in the likes of Dennis Schroeder. You were able to hold on to that mid-level exception. It'll be interesting to see if they're able to add anything to it. I know Scott Perry did say on one of the broadcasts during, I think it was the first summer league game, that he's still worried about point guard play and help there. I think more in terms of depth. Certainly you've heard the likes of Russell Westbrook bantied about, and Malcolm Brogdon, names like that have come up. In recent weeks, it's been more of even the Cameron Payne type of direction. Not sure where they go there, but I think they would like to add some point guard play, some additional depth there, and see what happens here in free agency. You've got Josh Giddey, who has a very complicated restricted free agency situation going on with Chicago. I don't think anybody sees Josh Giddey being moved, but certainly once that gets kind of maybe squared away a little bit, that might open up some doors for some of these other point guards that are on the free agent market. Someone asked here, Antonio, is that Antonio Ray Harvey? I know Antonio Ray Harvey. He's around the Sacramento Kings a lot. What am I hearing is a chance that Jonathan Kuminga is still in the fold for Sacramento? I'd say yes to a degree, but everything I've been told on that is that Sacramento is nowhere close. I think a lot of it also has to do with, aside from the restricted free agency, which is just absolutely nasty, and I don't think it's advantageous for either the player or the organization. And then there's just no money for people to go out to sign offer sheets that all of a sudden the team can make that decision as to whether or not they want to match. You think about the Zach LaVine deal years ago under Vlade Divac. They were able to sign Zach LaVine out of Chicago, or before he signed him to an offer sheet, and then Chicago was able to match it, and he went right back to the Bulls. So I think there's always a possibility with sign and trades and things of that nature, see what happens. But I actually think his pathway is back to the Warriors for at least a year, maybe move him later in the season, and then unrestricted free agency is where he'll ultimately find his happiness. And I think if the Kings are going to be a part of that, they're certainly able to kind of show the interest right now. This is the time where they're able to at least lead those breadcrumbs to Sacramento that he might be able to follow, especially as you get closer to 2027. Very high ceiling type of player, very, very talented type of player. But the part I think that's going to stick out more than just the money or any situation that he has in the NBA is really going to be his addition to a roster and that might be able to build around and give him the most opportunity. He's been in the league for 5 years now. He's been around for a while. He really desires that playing time. He desires to be someone's guy, if you will, a top scoring option. So I don't believe that Sacramento will be a part of that, but I think Jonathan Kuminga will likely end up going back to the Warriors and ultimately finding his happiness, being able to find that situation. And if the Kings are that team, maybe a year from now, or at this time next year, maybe, but I just don't see that happening right now. What are my thoughts on Ben Simmons? You're starting to hear that name a little bit more. And it's kind of ironic because the previous regime and Monty McNair absolutely had a fascination with Ben Simmons. I saw it. I mean, I said at one point that real Kings team that was very young hadn't made the playoffs. This is before Domantas Sabonis and really before Tyrese Halliburton. I said you could pick any three players on that Kings roster, and I would trade them for Ben Simmons. They just weren't good enough. You didn't have a player like him that was really elite at any one thing, and he was checking boxes: defense, playmaking, rebounding. Those are the three things that I think he is an elite player, even still to this day. Certainly, he has his struggles offensively, and that guy can't hit the broadside of a barn. I think half the people in this chat could probably hit a jumper better than him. Certainly free throws. I know it's been a work in progress, but that guy does bring a lot to the table, and I think this team could be very well set up for someone of his talents, especially with that type of ball movement. You're coveting a point guard. This would be a quasi point guard with size. You think someone like Grant Hill, Scottie Pippen, somebody of those, type of ball handlers, and then of course his just ability to absolutely defend. So really, really impressed with Ben Simmons. I think he would be a great addition to Sacramento. I can see the vision there. Not sure if they'll be able to land him. I haven't heard much on Ben Simmons. I know there's been some people talking, some chatter, but from a Kings standpoint, his people standpoint, just other team standpoint, I have not heard Sacramento and Ben Simmons come up beyond some speculation there, and how nice of a fit he could be. So that would be interesting there. Looks like the update there in the chat for Kyle Ledbetter. I don't know if I'm actually on the air of 1140, so I'm gonna have to send them a check or an invoice, but no, I guess the Wi-Fi in that whole building went out. So that's crazy. That building is a little older than the building when I was back at 1140. We were at 5244 Madison, right there, corner of Madison and Hemlock, right down the street from Auburn Boulevard, around the corner from AR, American River College. And when I was there, we had some absolute times and technical difficulties and things of that nature, but a lot of radio stations in that building, and it was a lot of fun. And it's crazy when you think about, there's so many people when you look at just the NBA. What do you got? 30 NBA, 30 TV stations, 30 TV play-by-play, 30 radio play-by-play, and so many guys have come from 1140. And I'm looking across the way now in this little chat box. My face is no longer taking up two screens. I see my guy Brendan Nunez, he's still alive. He's in Vegas. He's still alive. How's it going, Brendan?
What's up, Sean? Thanks for holding it down. I got word from the station. I am still out in Vegas. We got a game here in about an hour. Showed up early only to find out that we can't even get into the stadium until an hour before the game. So I guess rookie mistake on my hand. But apparently, internet went down. Actually, power entirely went out at the station back in Sacramento.
Oh.
So a little bit of struggles here. While appreciate you holding it down in the meantime, man.
So this was just for the YouTube audience, not for the the 50,000
honestly,
watt
I
flame
am
blower.
struggling to find out because when we try to listen to the radio, we are blocked out since I'm out here in Vegas. So if you could give it a listen possibly and let me know, you might be doing me a lot of help for what it's worth.
where's my little boom boxer transition?
This is great radio right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will say, Sean, one guy that we could talk about a little bit, if you're down to kill a little bit of time with me here.
Yeah, you're fine.
Is I got to talk to Coach Smith, Stanford head coach, this morning, or actually yesterday. I'm getting my days mixed up. Vegas out here a little bit
As you
long
do.
days. And he talked about how smart Maxime is. Obviously, I got a little bit of background. He joked that he might have a chance to make more money in the computer science field where he majored. Obviously, going to Stanford, said that Stanford was a fit for him, whether he was a basketball player or not. And this, I think you've talked to him a little bit as well. But Max has talked about how he was so important to their offense that he wasn't supposed to be fouling out there on defense. And now you're going to see a little bit of a different role, obviously, at the NBA level. You're not the primary guy, and you get put a little bit more effort there. How much do you feel like he could grow on the defensive end, and what have you seen from him offensively so far?
Yeah, and I know it's been well documented. Kyle Smith, and it's funny because when he got there to Stanford, for people who don't know, I mean, he was at Washington State. He had Jalen Wells, he had Isaac Jones before he came over to Stanford. So there's some more familiarity with just other NBA players, and obviously Isaac, who's on Sacramento. But what's really cool about the way he talked about playing him is not wanting to get him in foul trouble, wanting to keep him on the game, but also he's playing him so much of the 7-footer out on the perimeter. They used him for everything offensively. So I mean, it's going to be part of a development. And then I think they did make a shift. I think you even brought it up in our podcast. Like they did make a shift to where all of a sudden they wanted him to be more of a shot blocking force, because that's what the NBA was looking for. And he responded really quite crazily, and like what was it, 15 games, putting up some incredible block numbers as he should. You're a 7-footer, you're long, you're athletic, you can do a lot of nice things around the hoop, and they just weren't playing him that way. They relied on him so much to be able to be kind of the straw that stirs the drink, so to speak. So It's been interesting because he's shown the want to go up and get it. I mean, that's how he hurt his wrist the other day, was on a block attempt of a dunk on the block attempt to try to stop a dunk attempt there. And he's a lot of fun to be around, man. Like, just his communication, I know it's been well documented. If you're in the gym, you're going to hear him, even in a crowded gym. Like, you're hearing him from the bench, you're hearing him from what's on the floor. The way he reads defenses, like, he understands spacing, he understands just the way basketball should be, especially on the defensive end. And it's kind of a breath of fresh air. You hope it's contagious, you hope it spreads over to a lot of his teammates, but he sees the game as a player who's been playing it all his life, and it's really interesting. So to add somebody that long and that smart, and you can't help but feel optimistic about the future with him because of some of the talents, his dexterity that he has at that size. It's really impressive to see. And one other thing I'll point out too, it's like, he wants to be that team player. He wants to be that guy who helps turn the Kings' fortunes around. He has such a bond right now with Nick Clifford, and rightfully so. I mean, they talked about, even before getting to Sacramento, sharing a hot tub, some sort of cool down session where all of a sudden they kind of hit it off.
I think it was even at a different team workout, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, because Nick didn't work out for Sacramento. And so, yeah, even just seeing that and kind of like building that little foundation, and here they are moments later down the road here at Summer League. And really, it's kind of, I've seen so many Summer League. This one's really, truly unique. I thought last year they had a lot of familiarity. It's something that the Kings have done pretty well. And this dates back to Monty McNair years, because typically you get into Summer League, you're lucky if you know two guys on the team. Not from a media standpoint. I'm talking about teammates. Nick Clifford can get on the court, and he's got a familiarity not only with Maxime Reynaud now, but he knows Devin Carter back from AAU days in Colorado. He's got his former Isaiah Stevens, a former teammate at Colorado State. So, yeah, there's a lot of familiarity. Isaac Jones, Isaiah Crawford, Devin Carter, that kind of triad there, and the familiarity that they have of playing with one another, but also guys like John Elmore, who were on Stockton last year. So there's so much familiarity. You were watching that game last night, and I wasn't there. I was back here in Sacramento on Monday, just making my way back from Vegas, and you saw that game in that absolutely trouncing of Phoenix. To me, it just looked like these guys are playing on a string. Like it looked like they've been playing for 30 games together. I know Summer League can sometimes bring the best and the worst out of things with teams, but what did you see in that win, and what can translate maybe to today, coming up in about an hour against Cleveland?
It's funny. I was telling Chris about this yesterday. I'm like, I don't think I've ever heard a Summer League team talk about an identity so much. Like, I feel like typically, there's a lot of player development and there's a lot of individual agendas. Unfortunately, it's just kind of the nature of this tournament, and I think it makes things very hectic. But you're seeing everybody play together. Like, Mason Jones could go out there and decide, like, hey, I'm playing for a lot right now. He doesn't have a contract. He could try to take matters into his own hands, and he's playing within the flow of everything. You could say that about a lot of different guys, and I think you're seeing everybody buy into this defensive identity. They're picking up 94 feet. This is a locked-in Summer League team. I think that they want that championship. They got one more game ahead of them before they might get a chance to compete for that a little bit. But yeah, we're going to see what direction this ends up going in. Maxime right now is going to play today, and there is no Mason Jones, though. He had a little bit of an oblique injury yesterday. He was actually grabbing it prior to the injury, and then didn't quite see exactly what happened in the moment. Hoping to talk to him. I'm sure that we'll see him in there in a little bit. But he was in a lot of pain. He was sitting right next to us. I got a pretty good view of it, and we saw him sitting on the bench for a while after. Normally he's an active guy on the bench getting up. It was like hard for him to even stand up for a little bit there. So he's going to be out for a bit here. Sean, I'm going to get you out of here as well. Thanks for helping us kill the time here, man. Last thing I want to get for you is I actually didn't get a chance. I'm sure that Allen listened to the entire thing in preparation for this, but I'm running a little bit behind. I didn't get your entire Scott Perry interview listened to quite yet, but how did that go? What were your big takeaways there that everybody should check out over there on KCRA?
Yeah, man. It was a lot of fun. I started off by talking about like seeing him in that type of atmosphere. It wasn't like a 5-minute conversation. It was a little bit longer. Wanted to see if he kept the same kind of energy and didn't slip up on anything. in terms of keeping the message the same. And I think that's one of the things I love about talking to Scott, even before he came to Sacramento the first time, is he's a very direct person. He will answer a question, even if he doesn't maybe give you everything you might be fishing for. He will answer a question with a direct question. And so it's refreshing in a way, because you do have some people that like to speak in code and really maybe not answer the question at all and do a total pivot very politically. Scott isn't really that guy, and you can kind of press him a little bit. So yeah, I mean, obviously I shared some of the way he looks at the offseason, some of the chatter that's been out there and having to navigate those fields, but also we've heard him so much talk about that combo platter of DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. We've seen him talk so much about Domantas Sabonis, but we haven't heard him talk about decision made on Keon Ellis and the decision coming up now with Keegan Murray, but also Malik Monk, who's been how he views him as a fit on the team and someone who's been out there so much. So, and then I had to bring up Monday motivations, Brendan. I mean, so many people think that they're cryptic. I had so many of my friends say, you have to ask about this. I was like, I don't know if he's ripping them off a notepad. I don't know if those are true thoughts of his, but just how he looks at those. So lots of little nuggets throughout.
They feel scheduled. They feel scheduled, Sean.
Yeah, they could be scheduled tweets. And Scott Perry's a very smart man. He might have scheduled tweets ready to be fired off. But yeah, I mean, he's a guy that definitely.
Hey, Sean and Brennan, can you guys hear me?
Oh, I can hear you.
We're back.
Hey guys.
Hi.
All right, can you put me in a good mood, because I'm ticked off? But can someone put me in a good mood right now? Brendan or Sean, give me something here.
He's very angry because the Wi-Fi just crashed.
Someone
for about
play
10
some
minutes.
G-Easy. Play some G-Easy and just get me in a better.
It was just me. Sean was over here, just me, myself, and I.
There you go. Yes, he was. Sean, by the way, Sean.
Yeah, shout out to Sean.
Man, for holding it down. We need more gigabytes over here. We need a stronger modem. I don't know what it is.
So we just had two shows running at the exact same time. You guys were doing a YouTube show, and we had a radio show going, and they were just existing in different universes.
That's right.
Content right there.
Choose your adventure. That is Sacktown Sports in the summer. Okay, I'll stop before I get in trouble. Sean.
So there's no hard line. You just have to use the wireless. Huh? That's what we're doing.
Like Ethernet went down too, so everything in the building was out. And I guess Wi-Fi went down, then they had to reboot everything to get it back up.
But luckily, we had Sean and we have Brendan, who looks like he's in the same spot I was in the media room in Vegas. So good to have both of you with us. Sean, only a couple more for you, and you've really gone overtime, so we appreciate it. Let me get to the big ones, though. As far as the point guard position, we had, obviously there have been the Westbrook whispers, if you will, and campaign got brought up by our own Kyle Draper. Doesn't necessarily have to be from your conversation with Scott Perry, just you were out there in Vegas, and obviously that's the time everybody talks. What have you heard about and Scott Perry said it himself on the first broadcast interview that he did. What have you heard about the backup point guard search, or a backup point guard, or the backup point guard search for the Kings?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. And I had mentioned it when we were off the air there a minute, because Scott Perry in that first sitting down with the broadcast team against Orlando, I think it was on that Thursday night, mentioned that still needing a backup point guard, or another point guard for depth. Fast forward all the way to when I sat down with him 24 hours later. We did that interview on, I believe it was Friday. Sitting down with, I asked, I said, what do you guys need? Like, what do you feel like you need? And he took it a completely different route and said time together. Like this group, this roster that they have need time together. And I think also, it's no secret they've got Devin Carter, their first round pick last year, trying to play a primary point guard position. You look at Nick Clifford, certainly you can see playmaking and ball handling skills that exist within him. And I think they look at him as very plug and play to be able to help the roster for next year. We'll see how that evolves coming into training camp and beyond. But having those two aside, what Malik Monk has been able to do. If he's here, and it sounds like he might be, he has ball handling capability. You have Dennis Schroeder now. I think there's still the want for depth. I mean, you're hearing people talk about, Ben Simmons. obviously that's a very bigger wing type of point guard, similar to that of, Scottie Pippen, Grant Hill, somebody who's been able to handle the ball, but he's an elite ball playmaker, rebounder, defender, obviously awful defensively or offensively, but you can see where someone like him could fit in with this group as it's currently constructed. But also you hear those names, the Westbrooks, the Brogdons, Campaign, as you mentioned. To me, I just don't know if it's. I think to be honest, with some of the things you're looking to rely on, I'd probably have some guys in mind, but I don't think Russ Westbrook is the answer. I don't think guys like Brogdon and Campaign are the answer. To me, I think you just kind of get into training camp, you see kind of what maybe shakes out. There's always a veteran point guard that's available that you can go get. I feel like you kind of want to get into some of the minutia of training camp and see what truly might exist. I think in my mind, you kind of need you have to make some bigger decisions on who's your power forwards, maybe some wing help. Are you keeping Dario Saric? Are you keeping Drew Eubanks? I think that they will be keeping Drew Eubanks. I think that Scott Perry likes the low commitment there, but also likes what he's able to do defensively and from a screen setting and offensive rebounding situations. So I do think he'll be around, but from a point guard situation, I don't think there's any rush. I really don't. I think you've got Dennis Schroeder. That puts them at ease for now. That's your stopgap. That gets you to ultimately where you want to be maybe in a couple years. But beyond that, I don't think you have to be crazy with what you're looking at the point guard situation. And as I mentioned in the chat, I know you've got a lot of stuff going with restricted free agency right now. I think a lot of eyes are looking at what's going on with the Josh Giddey situation, whether he ends up back in Chicago. You might see some dominoes fall once that gets situated.
Sean Cunningham, thank you so much for the overtime. Before we actually let you go, we were just in Vegas. Okay, little gambling happened. Brendan is still in Vegas. If you were a betting man, when the ball tips off for the 2025-2026 season, will this roster be exactly how it is right now? And when I say exactly, not the two-way deals, anything like that. Will this rotation, I should say, be exactly how it is right now?
Well, I mean, I would say probably. I still think probably not. No, I think there's a move that's out there that they can make, move or two out there that they can make. I think if you're asking, will the core remain the same? Yeah, probably. I think you're going to go into the season with the core ultimately remaining the same. And I think if you're looking at the core four, that's kind of what I look at. Beyond that, I think rotationally, who knows? We're here in July 16th, and there's a lot of offseason left. So I would bet that there's a move or two that they can make still that will alter what rotationally they could look like. There's a lot of decisions that have to be made, and I think they still have some roster imbalance. So no, I would answer it as I think rotationally you'll still have pieces that can be added to this roster. But I think all eyes now are kind of being more looked at as going into training camp, see what this team can look like. As Scott Perry said, time together, seasoning, see what comes out of it. But we had some time together in Vegas, the three of us.
That's right. That's right. Hey, 1 o'clock, I will tell the PG version of that story.
You're not supposed to be telling Vegas stories, Allen.
Look, people.
I'm okay. I have nothing to hide. We're fine.
These are sanctioned events, Brendan. Okay.
All right.
Don't you worry about it. All right. Story time with Allen in the 1 o'clock hour. It was story time with Sean for the last 10, 15 minutes. So, Sean, we really appreciate you. Go check out Sean's interview. If you liked what he did on YouTube, go check out what he did as he spoke with Scott Perry. And it was a really, really good interview. I got to finish it. Brendan, thank you for hopping on and helping out as well. We'll talk to both of you again soon. Thank you, my guys.
Can I say one real quick thing?
Yes.
Nick Clifford, also have a one-on-one with him. I'll probably put it out there today or tomorrow. He was the last person I talked to before I hightailed it out of Vegas. So little discussion coming up with him as well.
Was he the person who impressed you the most while you were there? At least, summer league's not over yet, but.
Absolutely. Especially because, as you guys can attest, you've heard so much about how confidence is such a point of concern, maybe not concern, but such a big deal for him and what he's able to be on the court and battle a little bit. And so I think he's taken to summer league. Probably, I think he's had the best summer league of anybody. Even recognizing when other guys have hot hands. I love a lot of the things he brought into the table in summer league. He's looked fantastic.
There you go. No need for Westbrook. We got Nick Clifford. We're good here. Thank you to Sean Cunningham. We're always good when we got Sean and Brendan as well. We'll talk to you soon, my guys. Appreciate it.
See ya, buddy.
We are way over time, so we're going to get to a quick breather. And when we return, we continue the conversation. It's time to put some respect on Keegan's defense. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here for Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, inviting you to come join them every Wednesday for their midweek madness drawing, giving away $2,000 in total cash starting at 6 p.m. It's a safe and friendly environment, plenty of well-lit parking available, and it's conveniently located right there in downtown Sacramento. And remember, best food, best service, best games, 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
If you're not looking for a brand new car, at Elk Grove Honda, we've acquired some of the best pre-owned cars we can find. We've kept only the best of our trades, and our buyer has found some of the finest pre-owned Hondas available in Northern California. You can see for yourself at elkgrovehonda.com. Whether you purchase a brand new Honda or a like-new pre-owned Honda, your car buying experience will be the same. We have the right Honda at the right price. You'll find us in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 and Elk Grove Boulevard.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying ported. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card below 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729. Or visit us at powercopiers.com. Summer's flying by, and that back-to-school checklist, it's growing fast. New backpack? Check. School supplies? Check. Dentist appointment? Let's fix that. Kids Care Dental and Orthodontics is making it easy to cross dental checkups off your summer list fast with priority scheduling for new patients and kid-friendly care that makes them smile. It's one less thing to worry about before fall. Call now or book online at kidscaredental.com. That's kidscaredental.com, because healthy smiles should be the easiest thing to check off your summer list.
Buckle up, racing fans! Adrenaline is back in full blast on July 19th. It's chaos, carnage, and crazy fun with boat trailer racing and more at the Stockton 99 Speedway on July 19th. Don't miss the madness. Tickets starting at just $15. Get yours today at stockton99.com. Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140
on Sacktown Sports.
Thanks again to Sean Cunningham for pinch hitting. Some of you got some questions in. That's good to see. And yeah, if you're driving, I think you might kind of have an idea of what went down. But basically, We lost Wi-Fi, so you were hearing me. YouTube was hearing Sean, who out of the goodness of his heart hung around on the YouTube, and then Brendan joined him, and then we merged it all together in the last segment. If that doesn't say summer, I don't know what does. And, speaking of trying to lock things down, Keegan's defense has really been locked down in a way that maybe we haven't given him credit for. Let me just say, though, the person that's number one on this list, it's actually maybe even more impressive because of who it is. So this is from Kyle's favorite site, the B-Ball Index. These are the top 5 wing stoppers in perimeter isolation defense last season. The top 5 wing stoppers, okay? So defending other wings on the perimeter and when they're isolated on the perimeter, okay? So number 5, Keegan Murray.
Oh, what's up, Sacramento?
Number 4, Andrew Wiggins. Number 3, Dorian Finney-Smith. Number 2, Tumani Kamara. And number 1, a rookie, Jalen Wells out of Sacramento. Jalen Wells, number 1 in perimeter isolation defense from the wing position. So Keegan coming in at number 5, I just had to give a shout because I think so many times on this show we say, hey, Keegan's a really good defender. Now, he doesn't pop up. No, he doesn't pop up in, the all-NBA conversation, and we give Keon Ellis more flowers than I think we give Keegan as a whole. But we can live in a world where he can still be very good. He might not be elite quite yet, but he's still a really good defender. And I think the better way to put it is he's not just a really good defender on the Kings, which is a bad defensive team. Hey, Keegan just looks like a really good defender because everybody else he's playing with on the court are bad defenders. No, Keegan objectively is a good defender and comes in at number 5 on this list with Tumani Kamara, who was all defense, okay? Dorian Finney-Smith, known as another defensive guy. Andrew Wiggins locking up Jason Tatum in the 2022 finals. He's kind of known as a wing stopper. And Jalen Wells, who, a guy that can score the basketball and clearly as a rookie competing on the defensive end. So Keegan being kind of mentioned with those guys, I think is a good shout. And, on the heels of our conversation with Sean, as far as where Keegan falls and who Keegan could be, just because he maybe isn't following the trajectory of his Summer League MVP, which led into that rookie season where everybody thought this guy is going to be a top 10 player in the league, Keegan is still extremely, extremely valuable, and hopefully he continues. I think the issue really with Keegan has nothing to do with his defense, right? I think his defense could improve, but I think Keegan's already a really good defender. It's just who are you offensively, Keegan? Who are you offensively? What box are we going to put you in? Because I think if you're a 3-and-D guy, you just get put into a 3-and-D box, right? You're not really going to put Jaden McDaniels in an offensive box because he's just 3-and-D. That's what he is. He can get to the cup a little bit, but he's just 3-and-D. So is Keegan actually going to have a true offensive skill set, or is he just going to be, hey, what level of 3-and-D are you? Right? That's the difference to me between two guys that are on the Pelicans, Herb Jones and Trey Murphy. Herb Jones is 3-and-D. Trey Murphy, and I think Herb, it might be more D than 3. Trey Murphy, on the other hand, he can do some things offensively, and he is good on the defensive end. He's not as good as Herb Jones defensively, but he is still good defensively, and offensively, he's more of a threat. So I would literally say, hey, out of those two paths, where is Keegan going to end up? Is there a middle ground? Sure, there's a middle ground, but is Keegan going to skew more Trey Murphy, or is he going to skew more Herb Jones? Maybe he could live somewhere in the middle. But when I saw this, I definitely wanted to give him a shout because too many times on this show, I think we kind of reference Keegan as, well, he's good as far as the Kings are concerned. But no, Keegan is a good defender. And I think the bigger question mark with Keegan now is who is he going to be as far as the offensive skill set is concerned. Quick breather, don't move. We talk about Lauri Markkanen and the Jazz situation. All you tankers out there, and I'm kind of talking to myself depending on the day, everybody that wants to tank, would you rather be in the Jazz situation than the Kings? Let's have an honest conversation to kick off the 12 o'clock hour. 916-339-1140, call line and text line. We are approaching an hour away from our Monster Jam tickets. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The summer sell down is on at Maida's Elk Grove Chevy. Save $4,250 off MSRP. Every new 2025 Colorado, C71, CR2, and Trail Boss in stock. And Maida Chevy saves you $3,000 off MSRP. Every new 2025 Trax in stock. $4,250 off new Colorado. $3,000 off Trax. Exclusively at the Maida Chevy Supercenter. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Less than current cost of Gold Star business or ZP member, not available with other offers.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-783-8055. That's 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports, 1140. Live and local.
It's Allen Stiles
on Sacktown Sports.
12 o'clock hour coming up. And we're back early. We're back on track now. We are back early. So not only are you getting the normal 30 minutes commercial free to start every hour, you're getting 2 minutes extra. Okay. By the way, I know somebody's going to feel me on this. What that just reminded me of was people like to joke about when you're in a meeting, right, at work, and the meeting ends. Let's say the meeting is supposed to end at 2:30, and the meeting ends at 2:28, and the person running the meeting says, "Okay, we'll give you some time back here, guys. Thank you. What am I supposed to do with 2 minutes?" Just don't say anything. If we end 10 minutes early, you can say that. But we end a meeting at 2:28. Supposed to end at 2:30. Okay, let's get you guys out of here. Got you some time back.
Well, cool. You know what you decided to do with 2 minutes was talk about the 2 minutes.
Because I don't want people to do it. Okay, now do you want the Kings to tank? Do you want them to do it? Yeah, we're using the T word specifically for this segment. Okay, normally we say develop young talent, but in this situation, we're going to say the T word. And I want to use the T word because we're comparing the Kings to the Jazz. The Jazz have a ton of picks to play with, but it's ugly right now. And we can talk about how long it's been ugly. And it's going to be ugly next season until they get homeboy from BYU, which they think they're going to get the same way they thought they were going to get Cooper Flagg.
AJ
DeBansta. So we'll see what happens. But right now, it's ugly. They are the only team. I was talking to somebody. Everybody in the West is competing except for the Jazz. They are the only team, which in a way might feel smart, right? If you do it that way. So let's talk about what the Jazz are doing and compare that to what the Kings are essentially attempting to do. This is a breakdown from ESPN on the Utah Jazz and specifically the Lauri Markkanen situation. It would be too much to describe Markkanen as untouchable, but the Jazz still project the all-star forward as a key player in their future core. The Jazz hope that Lauri Markkanen is still in a Utah uniform when the franchise becomes competitive again. Utah listened to offers for Markkanen last summer, but none of the talks with other teams ever came close to tempting CEO Danny Ainge to make a trade. The Jazz ultimately awarded Markkanen a 5-year, $238 million maximum renegotiation and extension, allowing him to sign the deal last August 7th, making him ineligible to be traded before last season's deadline. The contract isn't a concern for Jazz Governor Ryan Smith, whose roster is loaded with rookie deals. However, opposing executives said the money does dampen Markkanen's theoretical trade value, particularly as he's coming off the worst shooting season of his career, albeit in challenging circumstances. It would take quite a haul for the Jazz to consider moving Markkanen, probably requiring him to restore his value by performing well for those kinds of offers to come the Jazz's way. So basically, the Jazz have put themselves in a situation where now they can't trade Lauri Markkanen because his value is down, and they don't. Obviously, Danny Ainge doesn't want to lose any trade, so they're stuck with Lauri Markkanen. Okay, but besides being stuck with Lauri Markkanen, they did finally do the thing that they were supposed to do. John Collins is gone, Colin Sexton is gone, and you had Jordan Clarkson gone too. And these were kind of the three horsemen that just did not fit anybody's timeline. So they did do that. And by the way, Filipowski, he's been balling in Summer League, and people are excited about him. So it's going to be ugly again. But could you argue that the worst is over simply because those weird wrong timeline guys are gone? And by the way, Colin Sexton is in Charlotte, about to back up LaMelo. Okay, good for you. But what a tough life. I know he's an NBA player, but you could have a bad NBA life. I mean, just get the short end of the stick. You're in Utah. Now you got to go to Charlotte. I mean, you're a millionaire. I'm just saying.
Colin Sexton's about to go into year 8, and he's never made the playoffs.
That's rough, man.
And it's not like he's like Rashawn Holmes, where it's like a deep bench guy. No, he's probably has the most minutes in the league of any player that's never made the playoffs.
Yeah, so Colin Sexton is down there in Charlotte, in case you were curious. If you're comparing their situation to the Kings, how many people would say they would rather be the Jazz? Now, I think maybe last season you might get more people saying I'd rather be the Kings, right? Because you just added DeMar DeRozan, and hey, maybe we could surprise some people, but you don't have De'Aaron Fox, right? You have Zach LaVine on a bad contract. You have Domantas Sabonis, and it's not a bad contract, but he's getting paid his value. You have Malik Monk, who that's going back and forth, and you don't have all the draft picks. So the Jazz are going to be harder to watch maybe the next 2 years than the Kings. But would you rather, as a fan, would you rather be in the Jazz situation than the Kings situation? As a fan, because the Jazz, they could miss out on AJ, They could get the 7th pick or something. They could miss out on AJ. They could miss out on Boozer. They could stink again. And then they get the number 1 or number 2 or number 3 in an awful 2027 class. And this whole time they stink. The argument to say you want to be the Jazz or you'd rather be the Jazz is that you're assuming that they're going to turn it around. But the argument as far as picking the Kings, the question would say, how long is it going to take to turn around, right? Would you pick the Jazz if you have to watch this for 5 more years? Or are you thinking, no, this is going to be the Thunder and the Jazz are going to be good in 2 years? Because I don't know if the Jazz are going to be good in 2 years. I do not know that.
I would say at this point, I lean towards no, because I don't think Utah has a future all-star on their roster other than Lauri Markkanen, who's not one of their original draft picks.
No.
Which I think this underlines the point of why it's going to be so hard for the Kings to pull off what the Jazz are doing within a year or two. The Jazz have made 8 draft picks in the last 3 years, either in the first round or like right at the top of the second round. Like I'm talking first couple picks of the second round. Only 4 of those were their own picks. They got the rest of them from trading Rudy Gobert for 4 unprotected first round picks and pick swaps, and trading Donovan Mitchell for what was essentially Lauri Markkanen, Colin Sexton, and like 4 unprotected first round picks. So what's tough about this is that the Kings don't have those pieces to get that treasure trove of draft picks. And Utah got some other ones, like they traded Royce O'Neal for a pick that became Bryce Sensabaugh,
right,
and a couple other trades. But the thing that puts them in the position where now 3 years later they have 10 young players on their team was not tanking. It was trading Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell for like 8 future first round picks.
Right, but they're still tanking now while they tanked last season. They tanked last season, you know?
But this is year 3 of the teardown for them.
Right.
You could argue maybe last year was the beginning of the teardown in Sacramento, at which point you're still, if you're Sacramento, 2 years away from potentially being where Utah is right now.
But the teardown has not happened. They moved De'Aaron. That's it.
I mean, they didn't get much for him.
No, but this is exactly what I'm talking about with the cap, with who I spoke with yesterday, the cap expert. You don't tear down and bring on $47 million a year.
Yeah, you could make the argument that if they wanted to, like if they made a conscious effort to, we're going to bottom out and rebuild, I think they could do it faster than Utah did it, right? Utah went from like 52 to 38 to 31. Now this year, 20. The Kings are already at the 38 stage, right? They don't have to drop from 50 to 38. They're already there.
I'm looking here, and look, man. Then you get a guy who doesn't want to go to your team in Ace Bailey. Now he's there now, but you get one of your guys, top 3 pick, and I don't really want to go there unless I have to go there, and now I'm there. But let's talk. Look, this is what the Jazz are going to watch. Lauri Markkanen, Ace Bailey, and I think it's probably going to be a great I would smash every over on Lauri Markkanen this season because I just feel like he's going to have a bounce back season. He was terrible. He was terrible. The Jazz wanted him to be terrible. That was a combo. He didn't play. It was weird. They can't keep getting fined. Lauri Markkanen, this is what you get to watch. Lauri Markkanen, Ace Bailey, Walker Kessler, Kyle Filipowski, okay? Keontae George, Cody Williams, Walter Clayton Jr., Kevin Love for some odd reason, who probably won't actually be on their team.
No chance.
Slow-mo, Kyle Anderson. They're not going to be good, but at least they're bad with a purpose.
Right, but think about
with more picks left.
With picks left, but the Kings, if they were to do it, would not have the same number of picks as Utah because they simply don't have the assets Utah had in order to get those picks, right? Mm-hmm. Like if I go through the depth chart right now.
I hold on. I would say you're right. They clearly don't have, and that's why it's an interesting question because you're going to watch a team right? I would assume maybe somebody, and you say his name three times, it'll probably pop up on the phone line. But if you are in the camp of TC, or if you are in the camp of whoever I said, the 916 that I said could come on the show, if the Kings get over 48 wins, then you don't want to be Utah. Everybody that random texter yesterday that said I'd rather lose in the second round than tank and possibly not get better, then you don't want to be Utah. My argument is you somehow, some way you have young talent, right? So you don't have the draft picks, and you might not have the ceiling that the Jazz might eventually have, but you can, to your point, get where you want to go faster. And maybe like I said, maybe the Jazz end up being a championship team because of all their picks, and it's a bet. It's a bet, right? It's a numbers game at that point. But the Kings, their version of it is, we did hit on Nick Clifford, we hit on Maxime, Keegan Murray did take a leap. Now we go get somebody, and we're a respectable playoff team. So what the Kings are doing, or how the Kings would tank, probably wouldn't look like the Jazz, and they probably wouldn't have as high of a ceiling unless they do get a Boozer or somebody like that, and they get a bit lucky like the Mavs did. But I still think it would put you in a better position in the future than where you are now. It's a lower risk than the Jazz, and it's not going to take as long, but you might not get the Cade Cunningham, or you might not get the franchise changer. You're still getting good young talent, though.
But here's my thought about doing the multi-year rebuild. If it's going to work, you have to get both, right? It's not A or B. You have to get the franchise-changing star who's, one of the 5 best players in the sport at some point in their career. The Cade Cunningham, the Paolo Banchero, the Victor Wembanyama. You have to get that and the young talent, where Utah...
I don't think you have to.
Well,
I don't think you have to. I would like to, but this is what I'm saying. It's like a hybrid tank. I'm not saying you're moving off of all the money and your vets, right? You're seeing what your young guys can do. You're probably going to stink, and maybe you get them. I'm saying even if you don't, if you have guys that are good, they don't have to be Cade Cunningham. You're still kind of building towards being in the mix. I don't even know that I'm talking about, again, for the championship thing, you kind of have to do what the Jazz are doing or get lucky like the Thunder with Shea. I don't think the Kings are living in either reality like that.
I guess maybe a clarification. So when you're talking about clearing the books and giving the young guys run, is this the scenario where they're still hanging on to Sabonis?
They can hold on to Sabonis if they want. Right. I mean, it's just Zach LaVine's gone, DeMar is gone.
Yeah, and that changes the calculation, right? If Sabonis is your Markkanen and he says, I'll take a 4-year max, I'm here through and through, let's make this thing work, then I think it's a different conversation, because we know Sabonis can be that all-NBA level player. Now, I think they still would need a player better than Sabonis to make a deep playoff run, but I think Sabonis with the young guys would be good enough to get you back to where you were at 46 wins last year. Now, Utah, they made the bet on Markkanen, and I don't think Markkanen is that quality of player. Now, he's made an all-star team, but I don't think Markkanen is ever going to be a top 20 player in the sport at any point in this run. And I think that's maybe where they miscalculated versus the Kings have a player in Sabonis who has been all-NBA, multiple-time all-star, and is still only 29 years old.
Well, the other thing is, too, is you have a Sabonis, and you don't necessarily, like I said, if you keep him if he wants to be on the team, hey, we're probably not going to be very good, and behind closed doors, we don't want to be that good, right? It's up to Domantas. Then it becomes up to Domantas Sabonis, because he's 29 now. He's going to go through this season, and he's going to turn 30. He actually just turned 29. So he'll turn 30 next May, right? Then they go to him and say, hey, DeMar is gone. Zach is going to be gone. Basically, I guess the question is he going to wait 1 or 2 years. I think your argument is that he would sign another contract for 3 or 4 years. Maybe he decides, hey, it's the kind of Devin Booker thing. I'm happy in Sacramento and it kind of is what it is. Or he says, you know what? I'm 31. I don't know where we're going. We tried it for 2 years. It didn't work. All right, let's get me somewhere else. Because I think at that point, he might only have 1 more year on his deal.
Yeah, so he's got 3 years.
Yeah,
at this
so he'd
point.
have 1 more year on his deal. He's expiring. Hey, do you want to extend with us? We're going to go more in the younger direction. He says, no, I think I'm good. Let's get this taken care of.
Right. It would essentially be, does he sign the Markkanen extension?
Yes.
Now, granted, this was Lowry's 3rd contract, and this would be Sabonis's 4th, so it's a little different, but Markkanen's only a year younger than Sabonis, right? They're basically at the same stage of their careers right now. Markkanen's May 97, Sabonis is May of 96, so they're basically 12 months apart. Where Sabonis changes the equation is like, again, Utah proved this last year. You can do the hey, he's got a weird injury that's going to keep him out for 15 games. Like you don't have to trade Sabonis to tank. You trade Sabonis only if you get an offer like what Utah got for Rudy Gobert or Donovan Mitchell, where you just simply can't say no.
Yeah,
and that still doesn't get you to the place Utah is with all the draft picks, because Utah made 2 of those trades that gave them the treasure trove of draft picks in the future, which many of them they've cashed in, but they still have, I think, 2 Minnesota picks and a Cleveland pick swap and maybe 1 more Cleveland pick left still to use.
And I'm not saying, I go back and forth on the T word. I really do. But I saw this, and it also put into perspective, again, Sam Presti is, some of it is luck, some of it is this guy knows how to draft, and this guy knows what talent looks like. And there's also only one Sam Presti. I saw him walking around during the Vegas Summer League. This is from Sam Quinn. I don't think we talk enough about the Thunder getting Jalen Williams at number 12. He was just an all-NBA player in year 3 as a non-top 10 pick. There isn't another active player in the NBA who did that. The last one who did that was Kobe in 1999. So you drafted Jalen Williams at 12, who did something that the last person to do it was Kobe Bryant in 1999. Then you trade for SGA. And I'm not saying this, you could call it luck, you could call it skill with Sam Presti. It doesn't matter to me because Sam Presti is not the GM of the Kings, and that's no slight to Scott Perry. Sam Presti is only on the Thunder, right? So the Thunder just did that. Now we look at the Jazz, and it's a numbers game. They could possibly do that. Maybe Ace Bailey is that dude. The Jazz have way more bites at the apple, even if the Kings wanted to start tanking now, because if they moved, the Jazz had multiple with Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. The Kings really only have Domantas Sabonis that sniffs that value, and they would not get that. So you couldn't even enter the Jazz model if you wanted to. But with all that being said, the Jazz could have all these picks, and they could still not put it together.
No, and Utah right now has cashed in a whole lot of those picks. I've been trying to kind of like map it out to see kind of how it came together, but basically, if you go through their roster right now, Isaiah Collier got there from the Winding Road, got there from the Cavs Donovan Mitchell trade. Walter Clayton Jr. got there from the Rudy Gobert trade. Walker Kessler got there from the Rudy Gobert trade. That was a draft pick that was their original. Filipowski got there from the Rudy Gobert trade. Bryce Sensabaugh got there from a trading Royce O'Neal, right? And the Kings have a Royce O'Neal, but that's a reasonable trade they could make. Taylor Hendricks, Keontae George, and Ace Bailey are the only picks they've made that were their own, right? So the Kings could get that through their own picks, but so many of these other guys got there from those Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell trades, and just like the Thunder got all those draft picks from the Paul George and Russell Westbrook trades, the Kings don't have that. And so, we talk about these teams having 4 or 5 picks in each draft and getting shots at the board. you can only really get that if you have something worth giving up those picks in exchange for. Brooklyn has all these picks now. They just were the first team ever to make 5 first-round picks. And Brooklyn did that because they traded Kevin Durant for 12 first-round picks. And when I say 12, they got 5 from Phoenix and then 6 from Mikal Bridges, who was part of the trade. They basically got 12 first-round picks for Kevin Durant, and that's what gives them all the picks. The Kings don't have that unless they're going to trade Sabonis for someone who's going to develop into an all-star. They cannot do what Utah, Oklahoma City, or Brooklyn are attempting to do because they don't have enough draft picks.
No. And maybe that's part of the thought process, right? What I just said, as far as, hey, it would be kind of a hybrid tank where really you're just getting rid of Domantas Sabonis, and Zach LaVine's probably going to just come off your books unless somebody gets real desperate at the trade deadline. DeMar DeRozan isn't going to. It doesn't matter how desperate somebody gets. DeMar DeRozan isn't going to get you a first round pick. I don't think. Right? It could be highly, highly protected. So maybe that's part of the thought process where it's, hey guys, I'm Scott Perry, and I'm just not really in a position we're not in a position to utilize the draft the way it's going to be utilized. So we're going to get through these next couple of years, get everything off the books. I thought one note that Sean said that I wanted to highlight again is the fact that what Scott Perry even was able to do to get a meeting with Nick Clifford, that's the type of stuff that I don't think a lot of people know about, right? Scott Perry comes in, well, then why can't we get Giannis if he knows so many people? Why can't we get this player, that player if he knows so many people, right? And we were thinking about that when it came to, okay, he brought on, BJ Armstrong, and hey, where are all the big names? I thought he had all these connections. It's deeper than that. The fact that Sean Cunningham essentially said that, hey, they probably in the previous regime, they weren't getting meetings with certain, and not just the previous regime, years past, how Sacramento was viewed, they weren't getting meetings with some of these draft picks. And some of it, especially when you get to the later rounds, there are these handshake agreements, right? So they wouldn't have maybe decided to get into the first round because they didn't realize how much Nick Clifford does fit what they're trying to do because they didn't get that meeting. So maybe Scott Perry says, okay, I don't really want a hybrid tank. I don't want to just move off of Domantas Sabonis for 1 first. And it's just a longer version of a tank because now you have to just stink year after year to get good picks year after year. And we know there are people in that organization that don't want to do that. So the Jazz feel like they have a quote unquote quick fix, and it's been 3 years. 4 years.
And they're not even close yet.
Right. So if that's the quick fix with all their picks that they have, right, or it's just going to accelerate quickly once the picks get in the building, which started this year with Ace Bailey, a normal version of that, how long is that going to take?
And that's kind of my point for people who have been clamoring to tear it to the ground, which I will preface that by saying their hand might be forced next year. If Domantas Sabonis says, hey, guys, I don't think I'm coming back after this next contract, they might have to do this just because their hand is going to be forced. But my point is you don't voluntarily do that because you don't know what you're signing up for until those draft picks and lotteries start to cash, right? You can say it'll take 2, 3, 4 years, but if you draft Marvin Bagley over Luka Doncic, or you fall from pick 1 to pick 5 in that 2027 draft where apparently everyone is just hot garbage and there's no reason to even tank for it, like, you don't know how long that process is going to take because you don't know if you're going to be able to draft the next Cade Cunningham or Paolo Banchero or Victor Wembanyama or Ja Morant. You don't know if you're going to get that guy. Chicago never got that guy when they tore it down a few years ago. And you also don't know if you're going to be able to get enough draft picks to fill out the roster the way Houston did.
Right. Yes, this could be, it would be more organic if Domantas Sabonis says, hey, it's just not for me at that point. it would be Zach LaVine and a bunch of young guys because I think DeMar would be gone by then. And then it turns into, and I think, to be honest, this might be a little bit, I don't even know if this would be Carmichael Dave's fear, because I think we're currently in Carmichael Dave's fear. I think it would be a longer process where, okay, we moved on from Domantas Sabonis. And I think the biggest thing you cannot do is do what you did with De'Aaron Fox with Domantas Sabonis and try to get we'll take back Valanciunas and some other dude, Zubac and
Michael Porter Jr.
Exactly. You just can't do that.
No, you have to get picks.
Yes.
If you're going to do it, because your chances of drafting another All-NBA player are much better than you getting one from another team that's like, we're just going to give you our All-NBA player in exchange for Sabonis. The only teams that do that are, in honesty, the Sacramento Kings when they traded Tyrese Halliburton.
That's right. Well, and then they did the same thing with De'Aaron Fox on kind of a different level, but they did it again. So, yeah, I mean, I go back and forth on it. If you're going to do it, I still think that you go through this season and you just reassess everything after, which is what Scott Perry is doing, with the understanding that this isn't, you didn't have a trade chip. And I don't think De'Aaron, maybe it was De'Aaron. It probably was De'Aaron. But you decided not to do that. Scott Perry had nothing to do with it. And now he's got to find a way to make this thing make sense. And, I think the biggest thing for Scott Perry is we got to hit on one of these guys, which is it's tough. I mean, we're talking about a 26 pick in the draft and a second rounder. I'm not just talking about them, but whether it's Keegan, those guys, somebody, we have to be able to feel good about something, because we don't have a bunch of first round picks coming. It's just going to take a while, but you are going to have money off the books, and Scott Perry does know people. So maybe it won't take as long as we think. When we return, the Kings are about to tip off. We will keep you updated on how that's going. Also, what does Bradley Beal's signing say about the future of Malik Monk and DeMar DeRozan? Allen Stiles, on Sports.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Outgrove Honda.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. It is bright and sunny for this Wednesday, and temperatures will continue to trend below normal. Expect daytime highs to peak in the mid to upper 80s across the Central Valley. That cool breeze increases tonight to drop us back to the 50s first thing Thursday morning. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
At Elk Grove Honda, we've acquired some of the best pre-owned cars we can find. Whether you purchase a new Honda or a like-new pre-owned Honda, Elk Grove Honda has the right Honda at the right price. In the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 and Elk Grove Boulevard, or elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Carmichael Dave here for my friends at American Energy Heating and Air. Yes, I always tell you they are a family-owned operation, been in business since 81, A+ Better Business Bureau, but it is hot. We are in those Sacramento hot months. I want to focus on them being your second opinion partner. What does that mean? Maybe you've got somebody you're working with or you've worked with in the past in the HVAC world. Guess what? They want to give you a second opinion. How much does it cost? Nothing. You call them up and say, hey, can I get a second opinion on this deal? They come out and they either say, wow, that's a great deal, you should feel better about that. Or they say, we can beat that price. And usually they're going to beat it by a lot. Guess what? You just saved money and it didn't cost you anything to find out. It's a no-lose situation. Go with a trusted company. American Energy, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com. Jingle Singers, take it away.
Call 916-520-9990 now. Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. It's Country in the Park 2, Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo. Along with the special guests Mitchell Tenpenny, Low Cash, Vincent Mason, and Avery-Anna. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more. Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo.
Sponsored by Tricks Racing Canes, Chicken Fingers, and Naturewood Home Furnishings. Tickets at CITPFest.com.
The San Francisco Giants are growing right here in Sacramento, California. Watch the future stars of Oracle Park take the field with the Sacramento River Cats right here at Sutter Health Park. From power hitters launching home runs to ace pitchers dominating the mound, don't miss your chance to experience the next generation of Giants baseball up close. It's exciting, affordable, family-friendly fun. Catch the Sacramento Rivercats in action all season long. Get your baseball tickets today at rivercats.com.
Tune into Sacktown Sports this week for live coverage of the 153rd Open Championship from Royal Portrush. Brought to you by Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Summer's flying by, and that back-to-school checklist, it's growing fast. New backpack? Check. School supplies? Check. Dentist appointment? Let's fix that. Kids Care Dental and Orthodontics is making it easy to cross dental checkups off your summer list fast, with priority scheduling for new patients and kid-friendly care that makes them smile. It's one less thing to worry about before fall. Call now or book online at kidscaredental.com. That's kidscaredental.com, because healthy smiles should be the easiest thing to check off your summer list. Nighttime is fun time at the Hagen Oaks Top Tracer driving range. It's more relaxed at night with people enjoying technology, where you can play Pebble Beach at Hagen Oaks, compete against your friends in a variety of games, or just practice at your leisure. There's food when you're hungry from hangout eats and drinks, or enjoy a beverage on the brand new patio with relaxed seating. And check out the summer-long free concert schedule. It's the Hagen Oaks driving range nightly until midnight, Fulton Avenue at Business 80.
Your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sacktown Sports.
Kings are about to tip off. We're trying to get it here in the studio, and we will keep you up to date on everything that is happening there. Wanted to have a conversation, and we are 30 minutes away, by the way. We're 30 minutes away from our Monster Jam giveaway, and we will give you an opportunity at 1 o'clock to win those Monster Jam tickets. So you don't want to miss that, of course, at 1 o'clock. But right now, wanted to discuss really what's next for Malik Monk and DeMar DeRozan. So with Bradley Beal, if you're just now joining the show, Bradley Beal is a Clipper now. Bradley Beal is, missing $13 million, but he's made a ton of money already, not pocket watching. And now he is a Los Angeles Clipper. And here are the teams that reached out to Bradley Beal. The Heat. So, and I think this is important that the Heat reached out. And I'm going to tell you why it's important that all of them reached out. The Heat, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Golden State Warriors, the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, obviously, Zach LaVine, it was all going to be a buyout situation, so they knew that they weren't going to have to pay Bradley Beal much of anything. So we are going to keep that in mind. With that being said, though, that probably just eliminates Zach LaVine, in my opinion. Maybe DeMar DeRozan. But I think that if you look at the two-guard conversation, and even though you have to pay him a little bit more, actually a lot more just based on Bradley Beal's deal, and how different it was, these teams were obviously looking for this type of player. I think that it says something about Malik Monk. To me, the Miami Heat, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Golden State Warriors, and the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, the Warriors, whether there was interest there or not, we've kind of gone back and forth, and that's all connected to Kuminga. I think the Warriors were just we could eliminate the teams that were just in a buyout situation, right? I think the Warriors were probably just in a buyout situation. I think the Heat, with their cheap selves, were probably just in a buyout situation because they don't want to give anybody up. The Lakers, I don't know as far as the Lakers are concerned, and they're more just trying to get the most out of LeBron. So I might eliminate the Lakers, and I would leave the Milwaukee Bucks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. These are two teams that clearly need more offense. There's no doubt about it. So whether DeMar DeRozan fits into the mix or not, I don't know. But once again, all roads, I'm not trying to annoy people here, but all roads could still point to a Malik Monk, Kyle Kuzma swap.
Ah, yes. Final. Kyle Kuzma needs to be a King before his career's over. I don't know if it's that deal, but at some point.
I'm not saying I want to do that. I'm just saying the Bucks are telling everyone we need more scoring. I would prefer it to be DeMar DeRozan, and maybe we can try to will that into existence. But Malik Monk, probably higher on the list. He's cheaper. He's younger. You also have DeMar DeRozan. I do think Giannis likes a closer, and Malik does stretch the floor more than DeMar DeRozan. Don't get me wrong. I don't think the Timberwolves would be in on DeMar. I think they would more so be in on Malik because, Mike Conley, they got Rob Dillingham, but they need something else. And Anthony Edwards just had the ball far too much this past season. So I would say, out of that group, Kyle, some of them were just interested in Bradley Beal, I think, from a buyout perspective, because that's just a heck of a deal, right? So I think the Heat were just in a buyout situation. I think the Warriors were just in a buyout situation. We can discuss the Warriors once they figure out the Kuminga thing. And the Lakers, I think, just in on a buyout situation. We're the Lakers. Of course, you want to take a buyout and come play with us on a good deal. But I think where the difference between, it's a buyout opportunity versus, we really need a score and it's great. These teams didn't even really care that Bradley Beal was that cheap. They more so just needed Bradley Beal, the player, and that's the Milwaukee Bucks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. So I would look the Milwaukee Bucks thing, if this is what they're going to do, and, you got Miles Turner now, and you're trying to convince Giannis to stay, they have to be, they're clearly looking, right? Milwaukee and Minnesota are looking. I don't know what the Warriors are doing. I don't know what the Heat are doing, and I never know what the Lakers are doing. But this tells me that the Bucks and the Timberwolves are looking, and this could be a situation where don't be surprised if that Malik Monk conversation comes back up based on the deals that these teams could possibly make. Now, when it comes to the Timberwolves and what they would have to then give to the Kings, that's a little bit different. You could be hot or cold on Kyle Kuzma. From a position perspective, the Kings could use a Kyle Kuzma. In theory, they might not need this Kyle Kuzma, but they need an archetype of Kyle Kuzma. So I'm looking here, Kyle. Yeah, I think the problem with the Timberwolves, I just don't know what they have to trade.
It's just too expensive.
Yeah, they don't.
They're pushing the second apron.
From what I've been told, this is interesting though, Kyle. Hold on. I don't think they would do it because one is a shooting guard and the other is 37, but the money would work and it would lower the budget, if you will, for the Timberwolves a bit. I wouldn't do it, but yeah, you're talking Dante DiVincenzo and Mike Conley. There's your backup point guard, Mike Conley.
See, I think they're just better off.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree because Malik might not have as much value as previously thought. He's got more than that. No disrespect. Because you know how I feel about Dante DiVincenzo in that fake season in New York where he was just hanging out with his Villanova. They're just vibing. That's not who he actually is, though.
Minnesota kind of already decided once they didn't get KD, we're just going to plop Terrence Shannon Jr. in for Nickeil Alexander-Walker and just run it back.
So you would say you would put the Timberwolves in the same genre, if you will, in the same group as I put the Warriors, the Lakers, and the Heat. It was a really good buyout deal. Yeah. Hey, you want to come play with Anthony Edwards? So you don't think they're really looking for another scorer? You think it was just We could try to get Bradley Beal on $5 million a year. Let's try to do it.
I think they're looking for another scorer at $5 million a year, right? I don't think they're looking for a scorer at $18 million a year. I think they're looking for a scorer.
And who isn't, though?
I mean, look, there's plenty of shooting guards out there. We listed a few of them yesterday in the would you rather take this person or Ben Simmons. I think they just were at the point where if we see a good deal, we see a good deal. Otherwise, we'll just see what Terrence Shannon Jr. can do, which honestly I don't think is a very good strategy. We just saw what that did to the Nuggets by letting people walk and trying to replace them with unproven rookies. But I think they're basically at the second apron. They can't afford to take on another player without breaking up their core. And honestly, they've got a pretty good core. Mm-hmm. If you talk about their 8 players, like it's probably not going to win a championship in the West, but they've been to back-to-back conference finals. It's not a bad team to spend $178 million on.
Yeah, I mean, AJ Green did ball out. I mean, look,
the Bucks are a different situation, though, because the Bucks just have no wiggle room at this point.
No, I mean, it's just who they're paying and just a bunch of players on rookie deals.
Which is why I thought it was so interesting that they were the team that bought out Cole Anthony. They essentially were like, we can only take minimums and buyouts, which I think is why they were probably in on the Bradley Beal situation, and is that they're like, we have no financial wiggle room. We'll take you on a vet minimum or a buyout, and that's our way of improving the team, because that's really the only option Milwaukee had, except for, to your point, trading Kyle Kuzma.
The Bucks are going to need to decide what they want to do, because if I'm them, and look, it's really who has worse value right now, Kyle Kuzma or Malik. Because right now, I'll tell you right now, I would do Kyle Kuzma and Andre Jackson Jr. for Malik. I need Andre Jackson Jr. though.
Sure,
I'm not doing a swap, and I'm not doing Kuzma in a second. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I think Milwaukee would oblige if they like Kyle Kuzma. If they like Malik Monk, the player.
Yes, and they're clearly looking for something. Whether it's just and I think it's more than just a buyout scenario for them. We can argue about the Timberwolves, but we agree on everything else. The game is tipped off. We'll tell you who is up and if the Kings are going to be in the running for another Summer League ring when we return. Allen Stiles, Tech on Sports.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here. Based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025, Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and skip the regular line at the airport and pay for speedy security. Imagine not having to quickly unpack and pack at the place you already came packed to. And wearing your shoes the whole time you're there? You can't put a price on that kind of luxury. Well, actually you can, and you paid for it. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
This summer with Kohl's, you can rack up the compliments like, where'd you get that dress? Tell me all your makeup secrets. Or, ooh, my husband needs that polo in every color. Because Kohl's has what you need. Cute dresses, Sephora essentials, stylish polos, comfy kids clothes, and more. Plus, take 20% off some of your faves. Yep, cue the compliments with Kohl's. Select styles, some exclusions apply. Offer ends July 20th. Coupons and Kohl's Cash do not apply to Sephora. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Whitey here, and I want to remind you, not all grills are created equal. The Napoleon Prestige line of outdoor cookers are built different, built better, and built to last, with features other grills can't match, complete with a lifetime warranty. It's a great time to find out for yourself because Napoleon's Pro Summer Blast is on right now. Save up to $400 today on a Napoleon Stainless Steel Pro Grill. Become the envy of your neighborhood. Offer ends July 31st, 2025. Visit your local Green Acres Nursery and Supply and get grilling today on your new Napoleon Prestige Pro Grill. Napoleon Stainless Steel Grills, simply the best.
Buckle up, racing fans. Adrenaline is back in full blast on July 19th. It's chaos, carnage, and crazy fun with boat trailer racing and more at the Stockton 99 Speedway on July 19th. Don't miss the madness. Tickets starting at just $15. Get yours today at Stockton99.com.
Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the biggest selection, the best prices, and unbeatable customer service. Check them out online, sacsuperstore.com, for the guaranteed lowest price on Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Open until 10 o'clock and right across from Hagen Oaks Golf Course. sacsuperstore.com.
Allen Stiles. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
And one from Isaac Jones to tie up the ball game. He's going to have a chance to take the lead in a must-win ball game for the Sacramento Kings.
I wonder what the rules are for this, because we are the flagship for the Kings, but we also don't have express written consent from the NBA to disseminate. So I guess we're just kind of wait a few seconds. Let's not do play-by-play, but just,
I'm waiting, and that's bad radio. I would never do that. I'm just letting the good people know. I'm giving you highlights.
12-11.
You just said not to do that.
I mean, it's a score update. That's not play-by-play.
You just said not to do that.
I'm just saying, I'm trying to establish our rules for play-by-play.
I hear you. Here are the rules, okay? The Summer League rules. And by the way, 15 minutes, we got our Monster Jam giveaway. Our Summer League rules, though. Top 4 teams advance to the semifinal round. There's currently 8 teams that are 3-0. Toronto, Sacramento, the Spurs, the Thunder, man, Minnesota, Atlanta, the Clippers, and the Hornets. Hey, real quick, I feel like I know the Thunder have been balling, but I only saw Topic, I feel, once or twice. Is he balling? Tyler Rucker from No Ceilings, how he's been announcing players that he thinks can be shut down. I don't believe he had Nikola Topic on his list. And then there was a kind of a highlighted list of players from the Ringer that everybody was destroying because they had Reed Shepherd on there as a name to watch, or a name that's balled out, and Reed Shepherd has not balled out. So yeah, I just didn't know if Topic has everyone. Hey, they got this Topic guy. You know what I say about the itches? They got an itch, so
they're crazy.
The itches can play, but I haven't heard much about him since the first or second game.
Looks like he played their second game. I'm trying to pull up the Thunder's Summer League schedule, which honestly I'm having a hard time.
Don't worry
finding
about it.
him.
I was just curious. Yeah, but they don't make it easy.
It's him and AJ Mitchell and a bunch of people I've never seen before, which means because it's Sam Presti, they're all going to be just stars at some point.
Yeah, it's like 4 Case and Wallaces and a couple Isaiah Joes mixed in.
A Kenrich Williams.
Yeah.
The next Kenrich Williams is here at Summer League.
Since Cleveland is 2-1, a loss today eliminates the Kings. If more than 4 teams are 4-0, then it goes to a tiebreaker. And based on the tiebreakers, 1 head-to-head matchups, there won't be any if they're all 4-0. Point differential, and then total points. So essentially, it's not winner you're in, but lose and you're probably not in is more so
the playoff game today, Allen. We've talked so much about games with stakes for the Sacramento Kings, and this is essentially a win and you're in situation, because right now Sacramento is, of those 8 undefeated teams, Sacramento is 4th right now in point differential, and only the top 4 make it. So if you win and you win by at least a few points, you should be into the semifinal round of the Summer League.
I'll say this about Devin Carter as a point guard. I do really like his ability. What I've seen so far from him, he can drive and kick his butt off. He can get to the rack or get to the paint more easily than I thought he would have been able to. And because of that, I feel better about him as a point guard. But my biggest caveat is you don't have Caruso hounding you. And it's my same caveat with Nick Clifford. You don't have Caruso hounding you the length of the floor right now. You don't have Lou Dort hounding you the length of the floor. You don't have Dyson Daniels hounding you the length of the floor. So especially on a team like this, if they were to play Atlanta tomorrow, Dyson Daniels, where are you going to put Dyson Daniels? He's a big guard. Are you going to put him on? Does he need to be on Zach LaVine? I don't know. Maybe you just let him hound hound Dennis Schroeder and whoever is the acting point guard and let him cook. So I'm not just doing the Devin Carter thing. I'm saying it about Nick Clifford too. I'm glad that they look the way they look at the point guard position. And maybe this is what Scott Perry's thinking and why they're still looking for a Westbrook or somebody that they feel more comfortable with, because this is all fine and good. And I have been pleasantly surprised by Devin Carter's ability to, sorry, Mike Brown's gone, but touch the paint and spray the basketball. I don't know what this is going to look like with NBA defenders who even a guy who is not Lou Dort, a guy that's a Colin Sexton or whoever that's just going to hound you a little bit. That ball pressure is just much different in the NBA.
And if we're saying that Devin Carter is not going to be a point guard in this league, right? Let's preface that by saying if he slides into the point guard position, then you have a different skill set and we can have a different conversation. But if he's going to be this combo guard backup to trying to eventually develop the offense to where he can be a 3-and-D guy, like on the floor, like I'm not saying like Nembhard, but like someone who can play minutes while being an undersized guard primarily on defense, then I think that's the argument for a more talented Keon Ellis, or at least a deeper skill set than what Keon Ellis has. And maybe that's the long run future for him on this team if he works out. But right now it's more so about just getting where you fit in if you're Devin Carter against the Dyson Daniels of the world like you're talking about.
I'm going to be honest with you, and I think that's a great shout. So that 916 that's always getting on me for being a Devin Carter hater, I really hope you're listening. Let's not forget, this was Keon Ellis last summer. The whole thing was Keon Ellis as a point guard. He's going to work on his playmaking. I'm not going to sit, I do have a bit of a photographic memory, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you I remember every single play from Keon, but I don't know that I remember him getting to the paint and making things happen the way that Devin has done it. Definitely not Nick Clifford, but we're putting Nick in a different category. Just comparing Devin Carter to Keon, I don't remember Keon looking like this when they gave him point guard duties. And it wasn't as, it was talked about, it wasn't as official as it feels like. There's been so much talk about the point guard position because you still had De'Aaron at that point. We didn't know what we didn't know about Malik Monk as a pure point guard, so there wasn't as much of the emphasis of we need another point guard. But Keon was supposed to work on his playmaking during summer, and I don't recall it looking like this.
No, it never got there, and now we've just kind of resigned ourselves to like, okay, Keon's not going to be that. Because last year would have been the time, right? When they traded De'Aaron Fox, they just needed any point guard playmaking ability.
I think he might have burned my friend at some point on Prop Talk. Well, Keon, I mean, he's a point guard, right? How is he at 1.5 assists? Hammer that. Don't hammer that.
He's not a point guard.
Yeah.
That we know. By the way, I know you were talking about pitchers interviewing during the All-Star Game in baseball. We've got Maxime Reynaud interviewing on the bench right now during the Summer League. How do you feel about that one?
On the bench is fine.
It's not in the middle of the game, at least.
It's not mid-windup against Shohei. Like, you got to be careful. What if he sends a comebacker up the middle?
Oh, that is a scenario that morbidly I want to know what would happen, but I don't want a person to get hurt.
You're
like,
sick.
I don't want to answer your question, but I also do want to answer your question.
Don't get me started on it, but we're looking at, close game right now, tie ball game. We're still in the first quarter, so we'll see what happens. We will keep you in the loop and whether or not the Kings will put themselves in a position, because and I don't think it's possible, but if there's more than 4 teams that are undefeated, it would go to the tiebreakers, head-to-head matchups, point differential, and total points. And just so you know, the Kings are currently 4th, so there's 3 teams ahead of them, Thunder included, that have a larger point differential than they do, which is a big deal. All right, we are about to get to the other side. Real quick before we do, Top of 9 Showcase. Go check that out at topof9showcase.com. 9 as in the number. It's August 9th at Luther Burbank High School. It is a baseball showcase that I am partnering with Luther Burbank High School on to give an opportunity to players out there that have not been getting as many recruiting calls as they feel like they've been getting. American River will be there. Jessup University will be there. We expect other schools to be there as well. Kenyatta College from the Peninsula. So be sure to register at topof9showcase.com and tell them Allen sent you. When we return, monster truck giveaway. You know the number, 916-339-1140. We'll have, I guess I'll pick the number today. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The Giant Summer Sale is here. Get giant savings on our Giant selection only at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? Save during the Honda Summer Event and drive a brand new Accord or Civic. See all our specials at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
At Power Business Technology, we're not another big box corporation. We're your neighbors, locally owned and operated. We know what businesses like yours need, from reliable printers to high-performance copiers. We'll help you find the right solution with personal service you just can't get online. Need setup or support? We're just down the road and always happy to help. Power Business Technology, family hometown service with big-time solutions. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com. This very minute at the Hagen Oaks Driving Range, you'll find fun gaming on all 52 Chop Tracer screens, where golfers and newbies enjoy the fun together. Compete against friends at the Hagen Oaks Driving Range, or play 9 holes on the McKenzie putting course. Enjoy the summer-long free concert schedule and visit the Hangout Eats and Dreams for wood-fired pizzas, burgers, ice cream, and more, or relax with a beverage. It's happening all summer long at the Hagen Oaks Driving Range, nightly until midnight, Fulton Avenue at Business 80.
Hey, I'm Allen Stiles. Have an injury? Call Downtown. Downtown LA Law Group, an injury law firm, has many happy clients in Sacramento and the surrounding areas who have called Downtown. Get paid for your injuries from slip and falls or auto accidents. One of their most recent settlements was $1.5 million for a motorcycle accident. Have you had an auto accident? Call Downtown. Text injury help to 40222. That's injury help to 40222, and visit them at calldowntown.com.
Carmichael Dave here for my friends at American Energy Heating and Air. Yes, I always tell you they are a family-owned operation, been in business since 81, A-plus Better Business Bureau, but it is hot. We are in those Sacramento hot months. I want to focus on them being your second opinion partner. What does that mean? Maybe you've got somebody you're working with or you've worked with in the past in the HVAC world. Guess what? They want to give you a second opinion. How much does it cost? Nothing. You call them up and say, hey, can I get a second opinion on this deal? They come out and they either say, wow, that's a great deal, you should feel better about that. Or they say, we can beat that price. And usually they're going to beat it by a lot. Guess what? You just saved money and it didn't cost you anything to find out. It's a no-lose situation. Go with a trusted company. American Energy, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com. Jingle Singers, take it away.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Your local sports leader in the 916.
KHD 1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, Sacktown Sports 1140. Live and local.
It's Allen Stiles
On Sacktown Sports.
Neat Clifford skies for that. Or that rebound.
Isaac Jones, 9 points in the first quarter.
What are they going to do for Neat Clifford for when he makes a basket? Did we talk about this yesterday, the Big Red Dog? Did you look up anything?
I was going to look up a theme song for the Big Red Dog, but we need a drop. Even if the Kings haven't decided what they're going to do, we need a Neat Clifford drop on the show.
Yes.
Kind of like the Devin Carter.
God blessing me with his body.
Maybe we'll get it from Sean Cunningham's one-on-one when that drops. So we'll be sure to check that out. You should be sure to check that out yourself. As well as Sean's interview with Scott Perry. I know Deuce and Mo had an interview with Scott Perry as well. So just taking all the content right now. Taking all the content, okay? We're about to get to the giveaway. So you know how it works. We have to announce it and say go before we let you call in here because you don't have a number yet. So I saw you pop up on the phone line, whoever you are. You got to call in. You got to be the lucky number, okay? To win a pair of tickets to experience Monster Jam Freestyle Mania at Golden One Center on August 10th. It's big-time family fun at Monster Jam, where world-class athletes and 12,000-pound monster trucks come together to tear up the dirt in wide-open competitions of speed and skill. We're looking for caller number 2. Caller number 2 on the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline to win a pair of tickets to experience Monster Jam Freestyle Mania at Golden One Center on August 10th. 916-339-1140, 916-339-1140, 916-339-1140.
What was
caller number 2?
What was this voice? Is this?
I have no clue.
Was that Monster Jam PA announcer?
Monster Jam cool radio guy.
The person who voices the Monster Jam commercials.
Monster Jam, August 10th at Golden One Center. Ooh. We're looking for caller number 2. The phone lines are lighting up.
Dylan Cardwell just dunked on a Cav.
No play-by-play. Phone lines are lighting up. Kyle's going to handle the phone lines here as we are in the midst of the 1 o'clock hour. And the Kings have tipped off. They are working. They are working hard to be able to do their thing and get to the next round, okay? Which, look, they got to win in order to be in that conversation. If they don't win, they're probably done. And when I say probably, they're done. So they are doing their best to win this ball game. By the way, on the screen, DeMar DeRozan sporting a Bo Jackson Raiders jersey. DeMar DeRozan is in the building. It was rumored that he would be in the building this past weekend, is what I heard, and I don't believe he ever popped up because I didn't see any social media. I know Keon Ellis was in the building, but DeMar DeRozan is now in in Vegas, sitting next to Doug Christie right now. Will there be conversations? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But there do tend to be a lot of conversations out there in Vegas. All right. So that is the situation out there in Vegas as we kind of monitor the situation, what's happening on the court, what's happening off the court as well. And if you are just now joining us, dropping off your parrot at the vet, dropping off your dog, your cat, or your kids at summer camp, and you're just now joining us, the Bradley Beal saga is over in Phoenix, and he has agreed to a buyout situation. So everybody's he's going to be only getting $5 million a year. It's an $11 million 2-year deal in Los Angeles with the Clippers, but he will still be getting money from the Phoenix Suns. All right. So Beal is giving back $13.9 million out of the $110 million on the final 2 years of his contract to complete the buyout with the Suns, who will likely waive and stretch the remaining salary over 5 years, sources said. Beal, who averaged 21.5 points, 4.3 assists, and 4.1 rebounds on 37.6 from behind the arc for his career, will slide into the starting spot at shooting guard with the departure of Norman Powell. And, the Clippers, they might not be done either. We were talking about the win totals for all the teams. I'm seeing the Kings, they've dropped. You could find them at 36.5. I mean, this is just brutal stuff. Not that we have to care about it because we'll see. But the initial thought is, how much scarier are the Clippers, right? And the basketball standpoint, from the basketball standpoint, the Clippers are pretty scary. You got Zubac, you got Kawhi, you got James Harden. You have now Bradley Beal, and Brett Siegel was reporting that Chris Paul might be announced pretty soon here in Los Angeles. So basketball-wise, it does seem scary. But if you're being a bit sarcastic with it, James Harden is still on that basketball team. And if James Harden is on your basketball team, you'll be good. He's a Hall of Famer, but you got Kawhi, who's won at the highest level multiple times, James Harden, who hasn't been able to do it. So something's got to give here. But Bradley Beal joining the Clippers, along with, Brooke Lopez did as well. Do you think of them? Are they any better? Do they jump anybody? Right? If you look at the West, who did they jump in the West with this move? And I know it's probably hard to answer that because Bradley Beal has been in such a weird situation with being in Phoenix and getting paid all that money, but he doesn't live up to the money. He was injured. He couldn't play for, it felt like, a very long time in Phoenix, and they made the move anyway, and then he ended up getting pseudo-benched for different reasons. So I honestly don't really know. I can't sit here and confidently say, I know this is what Bradley Beal is going to bring to the table. I know Bradley Beal can score his butt off. I know that. But outside of that, I don't know that I can. I'm not putting them over the Thunder. I'm not putting them over the Rockets. I don't know if I should put them over the Nuggets. If I have the Nuggets third, I don't know that I can put them over the Nuggets. I think at that point, everybody knows I'm not very high on the Timberwolves. I think I would take the Clippers over the Timberwolves. I would take the Clippers over the Lakers. Yeah, I would have the Clippers as a 4 seed.
Interesting. You would take the Clippers over the Lakers right now?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I would.
I guess
would.
You don't
like
know.
Jake. What do they do besides Jake LaRavia? Oh, well, DeAndre Ayton. Yeah.
I mean,
DeAndre Ayton and Bradley Beal to me are both, I think they're good. I don't really know how much things are going to change. I think it's close. I mean, I think it's a pick 'em, really, but I'm just going to veer on the side of the Clippers. The Clippers were hot and they ran into Jokic. So I think I trust the Clippers, a healthy Clippers team, more than the Lakers.
That's fair. It's just the Lakers were obviously the 3 seed last year, and you would get a full season of Luka. I think I'm just higher on the Lakers because I guess I'm higher on what a full season of Luka and LeBron together.
And the drama. Don't forget the drama. LeBron might not be on the Lakers.
The LeBrama? Yeah. He took coffee. He thought I was going to talk for longer, and he just took a swig of coffee right there.
And you went with LeBrama.
LeBrama.
Yeah,
the LeBron drama. The LeBrama.
No, I understand what you were attempting to.
I know. It was good, wasn't it?
The 2.
Oh.
It's 2. I got, just because of that, I'm definitely taking the Clippers over the Lakers.
You believe in Chris Dunn and Brooke Lopez.
Hey, don't disrespect Chris Dunn. He will lock your butt down.
You were just bagging though on the Lakers editions of Jake LaRavia and DeAndre Ayton.
I wasn't bagging on them. I just think that the Clippers have done more.
What they added Bradley Beal, Brooke Lopez, swapped Norman Powell for John Collins, which I think might be a bit of a downgrade.
I like what
possibly Chris Paul. Is Chris Paul going to save this?
Wouldn't you argue that the Clippers have as much talent as the Lakers, maybe more, and their team makes way more sense? Zubac might be better than DeAndre Ayton right now.
Oh, he definitely is.
Okay, so how are you taking the Lakers?
Because if we were drafting players from both teams right now,
not the drafting,
wouldn't you take 2 Lakers before you take a Clipper?
What? I mean, LeBron or Kawhi, I think it's a conversation.
Exactly. For one season, I think I would take LeBron and Luka over Kawhi and James.
Yeah, but we do this thing, and now name off the next 3.
But it matters a lot.
Name off the next 5.
The Clippers are going to get most of them, unless both of us are, Rui Hachimura. Let's not go crazy here. You might take Rui. But
I love Rui, but... After fine, and I don't even know if it's LeBron over Kawhi. I don't know that, but I'll play your game anyway.
And I'm the Kawhi guy too.
Luka, LeBron, fine, and we got to see Luka. You know, they say he's skinny now. How is he going to play? I don't know. LeBron, Luka, and that drama, mind you, and Austin Reeves. Come on. So those 2, then Kawhi, then Harden.
Yeah. Then Zubac.
Then
what? Reeves?
Then Beal.
Then Chris Dunn.
Okay. So I don't know. I'm taking the Clippers, man.
Okay, there's a conversation to be had. I guess I'm just higher on the Lakers than most people are. I think other than OKC, the Lakers might be the team I take second right now. Either second or third. I shouldn't do that to the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves were in the conference finals, but
somebody is trolling me on the text line. What it is, I've never really read something like this before from the 209. I told everyone at school I listened to your show, and now I get wedgies every single day. Thanks a lot, Allen. By the way, 209,
that's pretty good.
Just know you made Whitey Gleason laugh. Whitey Gleason is behind the glass cracking up at your. That's a good one. I'll take that. I don't know why. Thanks a lot, Allen.
I low-key like that one.
Can somebody throw in swirlies? Remember one time I asked, are we still giving swirlies?
What?
Do you not know what a swirly is?
No, I know what it is, but of course
you got perfect hair to somebody to give you a swirly.
Thank you.
Just be careful. You're just lucky you're not in grade school right now.
I don't think they're doing that anymore.
I hope they are.
You hope they are.
I hope it builds character, man. It builds character. All right. Whitey's wondering why he's here right now. And so am I, actually. Can't wait to talk to Whitey in about 30 minutes. But yeah.
Whitey agrees that I have perfect hair for a swirly, by the way.
But the Clippers, I still have them at 4th. So I guess long story short, did they maybe create a larger gap between them and the others? Possibly, but I don't have them in a Rockets conversation, and I haven't even seen the Rockets play yet, but I don't have them in a Rockets conversation I don't have them in the Thunder's conversation. The only one you could, if you're questioning maybe the Nuggets and the Nuggets' ability to stay healthy, and I'm never really that high on the Nuggets, but what they did in the playoffs, I said, all right, it is what it is. But yeah, you could maybe convince me to take the Clippers over the Nuggets. I'm probably not going to do it, but I could be swayed. So maybe they slide into 3, but I don't know.
The Nuggets are such a weird situation right now. I don't really know what to do with that, because on paper you would say they are not as good as they were last year, getting rid of Porter Jr. and adding Cam Johnson, Valanciunas, and Bruce Brown.
Yeah.
But they still have Jokic, and Jokic makes a lot of teams so much better.
And, the big thing with Cam Johnson and that addition is this is the first time Cam Johnson has played kind of meaningful basketball in a while, man. In a while. I mean, that, and it does hit you quick. We saw what happened with Dennis Schroeder when he went to the Warriors. A little bit different because that was during the season, so Cam will have a little bit more time. But I do think that stuff matters. I don't think you can just assume you can't. This isn't 2K. You can't just say, well, his number's here, just throw him on a different team. A lot can change. And I would even say Cam Johnson, it was on record that he was down to stay in Brooklyn, and I think he liked living in Brooklyn. I'm not saying this with Cam Johnson explicitly, but I think a lot of people like playing with no expectations, man. At least D'Angelo Russell told us. He told us, I like to come out here and play free basketball.
Yeah, to your point, look how atrocious Kyle Kuzma was when he left the pool boy and jacuzzi, throwing lobs off the backboard down 25.
Right.
Went to Milwaukee and was just abysmal.
Right. So
he thought it was going to be like Washington, and it was not.
We'll see how kind of Cam Johnson acclimates or reacclimates to competitive basketball. That's a question mark. The Clippers, for me, and they're just lucky that I'm not even talking about, I'm just assuming health, which I think is a huge question mark. Huge. I mean, everybody was surprised that they were healthy in the playoffs, and they happened to run into Jokic, but they just had a really, really kind of, I don't want to say lucky run, but fortunate run health-wise. Now we got to bank on that happening again. And you're adding Bradley Beal, who's been super injured as well. So in theory, everybody healthy. I have them as high as 4, and I can maybe get to 3, but I don't have that. A lot has to go right for that to even happen.
How about a little run to the rim right there? Kings are up 12 right now. To your point about the Clippers, I think they are a deeper team than most in the West. And I think that's the plus of what happened. I saw someone also was making the point, like, because they didn't re-sign Paul George, they were able to make all of these subsequent moves that brought back their depth. It's not young depth, but it is a deep team now, where we mentioned it earlier. Their bench unit could end up being Chris Paul on a veteran minimum, Bradley Beal at $5 million a year, Batum still coming off the bench, Derek Jones Jr. is still there, Brook Lopez being the starting center. Like, they go legitimate 10 deep, and obviously they're going to have injury problems as the year goes along, but that is one of the deeper rosters in the Western Conference. And that, as we saw with Indiana in the playoffs last year, that can be a tool the deeper and deeper you get into this thing.
And they understand that. I don't think the Clippers, again, I throw them in the same category as the Warriors. They're not expecting to, run with the other young horses and be a top 2 seed. They're not even trying to do that. They just want to be healthy when the buzzer goes off for the 82nd game. That's their main thing. Obviously, be in the playoffs because they don't want to mess around with the play-in. But I think in a perfect world, the Clippers, they're a 4, they're a 5 seed, and they're healthy going into the playoffs. They do not care about being a 1 or a 2 seed, and that's just pretty much what it comes down to. How this affects the Kings, I mean, I don't know. Was anybody picking the Kings, or had the Kings slotted as a better team than the Clippers anyway? Both healthy? No. So I don't really, it just kind of makes the gap larger, but I don't think that this really affects the Kings besides what we spoke about before in maybe some of the teams, Milwaukee, the Lakers, the Heat, the Timberwolves. Maybe some of these teams might be interested in a Malik Monk and possibly a DeMar DeRozan if they were truly looking at the Warriors were in there as well. If they were truly looking for more scoring, or were they just trying to get in on a really, really good Bradley Beal deal? So that's the only way only situation I see changing with the Kings. But I already had the Clippers as a better team than the Kings, so it's not as if San Antonio or somebody else, the Blazers, made another move, and now you're thinking, oh wow, okay, now the Kings. I had the Kings better than the Spurs. Do you have the Kings better than the Spurs this season?
I think the Spurs are more talented. That does not mean that the Spurs will be better than the Kings. We still have to see how it all coalesces together. I don't think I would lean towards yes, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I don't think the Spurs are. I don't think they're more talented. Actually, I think they obviously have a higher ceiling, but I don't think they're I don't think they're close enough to the ceiling yet to say that they're more talented than the Kings. It still drops off pretty strong. I mean, I know Stephon Castle was Rookie of the Year, but you got Wemby, who's crazy. You got De'Aaron Fox, who's going crazy, and they're going to get to play together finally. Still, after that, I mean, I'm not willing to say that Stephon Castle and Harrison Barnes and
it's still Vassell and Keldon Johnson and Sohan and Champagny.
De'Aaron and Wemby are carrying a lot in that Jansport.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think when Wemby's first year and a half, it was like when he's not on the floor, they're like the 30th ranked offense in the NBA. Now, granted, De'Aaron Fox is going to help with that a lot. I think him and Wemby had 3 games together before Wemby went out for season, but they are not a finished product. And I think it's why the Kevin Durant trade would have made so much sense for them, is like at some point we got to start clearing out the cupboard a little bit and making room for some of these guys to have runway.
Yeah, we haven't talked about the Sun situation and all this with the buyout, so it gives them more flexibility. You know, they just paid Devin Booker. He might retire. He's still young, but he might even retire a Sun. Are we now on Suns watch to see what they try to cook up next? They've, like Sham said, they have put themselves in a bit of a better situation. But let's see here. It also gives the Suns increased team building flexibility by taking them out of the first and second apron, providing access to more tradable draft picks in the future, and opening up part of the mid-level exception. Suns owner Matt Ishbia vowed after last season that changes were coming and that he would reset the franchise's culture, and he has now completed a full overhaul of the roster around new leadership in coach Jordan Ott and general manager Brian Gregory. The Suns traded Kevin Durant, and they got Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, they got Malawak, Rasheer Fleming, Kobe Brea, who people are pretty high on Kobe Brea to start here, and obviously Devin Carter. I mean, I still don't know what they're doing.
So here's kind of my answer to that. There are, if we're ranking it by talent right now, there's 3 teams I know for sure are not as talented as the Sacramento Kings. Utah, Phoenix, close third Pelicans. Now, it's not to say that those are going to be the records. Someone always overperforms. Someone has catastrophic injuries, etc. But on paper, the only 3 teams I can say to definitively don't have as much talent as the Kings are those 3, Phoenix, New Orleans, and Utah, which puts the Kings 12th in terms of most talented rosters in the West right now.
Sure.
You can debate Portland. You can debate San Antonio if you want. You can debate Memphis if you want. I think John Morant and Jaren Jackson still puts you in that camp, but the only ones I know for sure are not as talented as the Kings are those 3.
Yeah, a lot of people are, saying that the Kings are maybe going to be better than what we think and what a lot of the national pundits think. I keep telling y'all my cause to pause is that I just want to be pleasantly surprised, right? I rode on that train with you last season, and that train crashed. That's what happened. I mean, you fired your coach, you lost De'Aaron Fox, you moved on from De'Aaron Fox. So
you fired the general manager.
Yeah. Look, we were watching the All-Star game. We were watching the All-Star game yesterday, and the Detroit Tigers kind of came out of nowhere, and they had All-Stars all over the field. So sometimes the pundits are wrong. They were right. I think they might have been wrong last season because they thought the Kings would be better than they actually were, right? The Kings, they were supposed to be in the play-in, but a lot of people thought they would at least be in the top tier of the play-in. So that's just what's scaring me. So I want to ride with you. I really do. But it's just tough right now. I'm scarred, man. I got 2 years of scars. So maybe, enough time will pass before the season tips off that things will change. But I am scarred right now. When we return, we have some fun with some Vegas stories. We also discuss Jauan Jennings and how much he deserves to be paid as he wants some more cash. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. Today, you're going to pay down your credit card bill. But you decide when you'll pay it. Before the due date, so those interest charges don't get you. But you decide if you pay it in full. But you definitely should, because, again, interest charges. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. Then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
Hagen Oaks wants to be your go-to total golf game fitter. Try the TrackMan experience, the very best technology to fit your metalwoods and irons. The new cutting-edge putter fitting studio with its $30,000 worth of technology is ready for your fitting. Hagen Oaks will help you find the best putter for your game. Hagen Oaks offers more technology, more choices, and more service. Schedule your fitting at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio by calling 916-808-2531, 808-2531 for more.
Get ready for a night out with Jordan Davis. It's Country in the Park 2, Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo. Along with the special guests Mitchell Tenpenny, Low Cash, Vincent Mason, and Averyana. Make it a family day out with food trucks, games, dancing, and more. Saturday, September 13th at Cal Expo.
Sponsored by Tricks Racing Canes, Chicken Fingers, and Naturewood Home Furnishings. Tickets at catpfest.com.
Around here, the summer can smack you silly, especially if your AC is not functioning at a high level. Whitey Gleason here. I had the opposite problem over the winter. System went down. It was panic time, but Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating saved the day. Let them save you from unnecessary summer misery. Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating, reliable, trustworthy. They do great work. They won awards for their service. Check the reviews at leesair.com. Find out about their $99 HVAC tune-up service. Save your summer now. Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating on the web at leesair.com. License number 635355.
Tune into Sacktown Sports this week for live coverage of the 153rd Open Championship from Royal Portrush. Brought to you by Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
At Kids Care Dental and Orthodontics, we're all about summer smiles. During July, we're having our Summer Smiles special with $300 off braces or Invisalign with no money down if you start treatment in July. And you'll have a chance to win Legoland tickets. Go to kidscaredental.com for more information.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Allen Stiles
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140
on Sacktown Sports.
Just saw some highlights of Filipowski. He is kind of going crazy. Commercial right now. Kyle, do you have the score?
It is at halftime right now. The Kings are up 50-40 in a must-win game to advance in the NBA Summer League. We are going for ring number 3, baby. Up 10 at the half.
Bring it home. Bring it home to Sacramento.
What are we going to do if they win?
Great.
We should. Like, on the air. Just thought of it. We do a single car parade. We get Bobby in the truck driving you around the building.
That's right.
We gotta do a single car parade of Allen going down to the hundreds of adoring fans at the Costco at Cal Expo.
Live show from the airport for when they arrive. That's what we're going to do.
And we're going to have a parade of Bobby driving the truck around so we can celebrate.
Live show from the parade. Hopefully we don't get kicked out. And that leads me to a little bit of story time. We said we were going to, share some of the things from Vegas, and one of the nights that we had, this is what happened, man. Okay, look. We're not going to say that there was any sneaking in going on. All right. There was a logistical question, right? Where we were obviously credentialed media, and we found out about an NBA tip-off party. It was called a media tip-off party. Okay. So, hey, we're media. The emails somehow didn't get to us. So, or didn't get to all of us. So we were not part of that registration process, and we were a little confused because, like we said, we are credentialed media. So we find out that we are, maybe a little bit behind the 8 ball, and the party is that night. So we still decide, oh, hey, why don't we go show our credentials? We'll be able to get in. I'm thinking, to be honest, this is going to be a break from, I didn't know what to expect, but I thought it was going to be NBA writers, hosts, things like that. Turns out when we get there, it's actual NBA people. And again, it's a sanctioned event, but I'm not going to throw names out there. Just know that there were coaches there that you know and love. There were players there that you know and love. There were GMs there that a lot of people hated and then ended up loving. And we get there.
Well, that's not obvious at all.
I'm not going to say who it was, but this is a sanctioned party by the NBA. So we try to get into the party, right? We walk up and, we're dressed up, and you know how it is. There's about 4 ladies with the sign-in sheets, right? And it's, got your name on it, whatever it is. So we go up and we say, hey, yeah, we're with Sacktown. And she says, okay, are you on the list? And she's looking through her list, and it cracked me up. And again, if you were listening to the show earlier, you know who it was, but I'll let him, when he's on tomorrow, say what he wants to say. But we say our names knowing that we're not on the list, and have her looking as if it's just going to magically appear. And she says, oh, okay, well, and there was somebody else that kind of did all the talking the first go round. So she says, oh, sorry, if you're not on the list, you can't get in. We walk away. The other person that we were with, he decides, hey, I wasn't sure how much I wanted to go anyway. I'm just going to go back home. All right, cool. So now it's me and this other member of Sacktown Sports, and we're just hanging out.
Well, now you're just making it even more obvious.
Well, I said, hey, we're with Sacktown Sports. So now it's the 2 of us.
But the third person wasn't.
The third person was not. So now it's just the 2 of us, and we are thinking, okay, hey, maybe she didn't realize who it was, right? And she actually didn't talk to us, so maybe we'll give it a little bit and try to come up with another idea. So we were able to get our hands on an RSVP email screenshot. Okay, we were able to get our hands on the screenshot. Now, we still weren't on the list, but we were able to get our hands on the screenshot. So now we both have the screenshots on our phone. So we let about 5-10 minutes pass. She's turning away more people, and this person keeps saying, "Allen, we got to get in there. We got to get in there." I said, okay, I know. Let's try. So we walk back. He does all the talking this time. "Hey, yeah, we're with, Sacktown Sports, and we got this confirmation." She's like, "Okay, did you get a confirmation email?" He says, "Yeah." She says, "Oh, man, well, you're still not on the list." Calls over a different guy. The guy has an iPad now. So maybe you didn't get to the printed list, but you got to be on the iPad list. He goes, "Hey, who you guys with?" And he's all official. Yeah, we're with, Sacktown Sports, and we got the email. "Oh, okay, well, I'm just not seeing you on the list." That's all he said. And right out of a movie, he gets a call. Somebody calls him over. So the girl had now walked away because she had handed us off. The guy now just says, "Well, you're not on the list. I don't see you on the list." He walks away. Kyle, hands quivering, palms sweaty. I just pull out my phone. We're about 10 feet away. It's like you're trying to escape, right? But you're trying to get in. 10 feet away. I pull out my phone. I talk to no one. Yeah, we're coming in right now. We'll be right in.
Veteran move.
The other person who will remain nameless until tomorrow, if he wants to say, the other person just follows my lead. We're walking. I have no clue if this guy's going to turn around and say, "Hey, you can't be in there." Mind you, we're already swagless because everybody else is 6'7", and we're getting denied at the door. It's a terrible look. I said, "We got to go for it, man." Yeah. We'll be right in. We get to the entrance. We get the stamps. We scurry downstairs, and we were among the NBA elite all night long.
One general manager. Just living the time of their life.
One general manager.
One random general manager just having a great time.
It's not that we snuck in. They just didn't know we weren't on. They just didn't know that we were supposed to be on the list.
No, why would you even say sneaking in? You didn't sneak in.
No, we had credentials. We're in the media. Our name just wasn't on the list for some odd reason.
Misunderstanding.
It was a misunderstanding. But, you know what? And I was thinking about this today because I said, okay, I'm going to tell this story. Who cares? Now that I think about it, I almost feel like that guy maybe was unofficially saying, if you got the stones to just walk in, right? I'm running around, you can do what you want. I feel like if he really wanted to say you can't get in, he would have said it. As much as it was me taking initiative, I think he was giving us an open door to say, if you want to just walk in, you can walk in. I don't really know how this ends. I'm getting called in different places. And I said, screw it. We going in with person that'll remain nameless.
I do enjoy TR on the YouTube saying, "I can't believe Draper was so nervous about getting in with you."
Oh, it was not Draper.
I can't believe Draper couldn't get in. You and him got denied.
If Draper was at the door, I would have been like, "Draper, help me." He was, "I don't know that guy. I do not know that guy."
Well, you would have let the other guy in with you.
Yes,
would have said, "I don't know him."
Yeah, that guy? No. We don't know him. But I'll tell you what, Kyle, I never have felt so, I guess for lack of a better term, insignificant in my life than being at that party.
Is because of height or because of
everything?
Okay.
Everything. Like, he wasn't going to find me. Once I got down there, there was no way to find me.
They weren't going to try.
No, but either way, we're amongst all these trees. There's literally no way to find me.
Plus, if you're working security for that, who's the person who's like, I really want to get into this NBA media party?
Right. We had our credentials. I almost got stepped on about 3 times while in that party. It was insane. But you know what, Kyle? It was motivation to next year. They're going to say, I'm going to get that email. Just say, hey, Allen has to be there.
Look, if security tried to come find you, you just turn to your left, find one of those 6'8" NBA players, and just kind of stand behind them.
No, I literally, I was nervous for about 5 minutes, and then I thought, there's no way they're finding me. Zero way. So, hey, social media, all they got to know is that we were in there, man. We got connections.
Oh yeah, I saw those photos of you guys. It was
we got connections, man.
You got to party with a bunch of former NBA players and agents and C-list media members.
I wouldn't say party. I would say it was more of a networking thing. You know, where it was a meeting of the minds. That's really what I would call
you and the nameless NBA general manager.
That's
just
right.
housing drinks.
That's right. No beverages here. You know what I mean?
I said drinks, just drinks.
Like I said, a meeting of the minds. How are we doing? 56-50. The Kings are still up. Whitey Gleason joins us. I can't wait to hear Whitey Gleason react. So he's been in here for about an hour, so I can't wait. I have no clue what Whitey Gleason's about to say, but he will help us close out the show. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
If you're not looking for a brand new car, at Elk Grove Honda, we've acquired some of the best pre-owned cars we can find. We've kept only the best of our trades, and our buyer has found some of the finest pre-owned Hondas available in Northern California. You can see for yourself at elkgrovehonda.com. Whether you purchase a brand new Honda or a like-new pre-owned Honda, your car buying experience will be the same. We have the right Honda at the right price. You'll find us in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, Highway 99 and Elk Grove Boulevard.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Oh, I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
You're just not on the list.
Yeah. How long did you stay at the party, Allen?
Not too long.
Why did I'm just curious why you wanted to get in so badly when what was in there that you were meeting somebody or something?
No, I mean everybody was there.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people that we know from Sacramento media were there.
Uh-huh.
With the big names though. Big Sacramento media.
I got you.
So they were there. Everybody was there.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was there. I needed to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
And the person I was with, we both needed to be in there. Okay.
And you made it.
And I'll tell you what,
did.
but I'm telling you, Whitey, there's nothing people love more than turning someone away?
Hmm?
Why is that with humans? What is that?
Well, in some cases, you're kind of put upon, and then you're not necessarily very high up. That happens to everybody. And then you get put in charge, or you're the gatekeeper.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden you're at the top as
Yeah.
far as, nope, not on the list.
I'm ruining
So-
your night and your night.
Uh-huh.
And your night. We found a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hello? Yeah. Yeah, we'll be right in. We're we're on our way. We're on our way. Hold on. We'll be right there. Whitey Gleason. So what are you mad about with the swing off? What part of it?
No, I just didn't like it.
Oh, you okay?
A lot
So
of people loved it, and that's great. I couldn't watch it.
what did you want them to do instead?
Play baseball? Is that such a novel concept?
What? Then you got them man on second, bunting.
Right. It's still baseball. And I know there's a lot of people that loved it. And the company line, the reporters that were there covering the game for the national outlets, it was a great night for baseball.
It was.
If people liked it, great. I just was disappointed. Oh, they're doing this. Well, I should probably watch. I got to talk about it. Tried watching. And then when they have the interviews with Verducci and with Ken Rosenthal, I was like, I'm out. I can't watch it. So I know it was exciting and Schwarber hit the home runs. I could not watch it. I'm glad people liked it.
Okay.
I just wanted to see baseball.
You did for 9 innings. That's enough. It's an exhibition.
It's called extra innings.
Yeah. That did not bother me at all as much as Scooble having to talk through his at-bat with Shohei.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It was the first inning.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they scored all the runs. He's sitting there.
I was sitting right where you are, so I wasn't.
Gotcha. Gotcha. He's sitting there. And then they asked, and then the broadcast, hey, so just kind of talk us through it. Why?
Yeah. Yeah, I was sitting right there, and as you can see, I wasn't able to watch it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just have Jay change the channel for you.
Yeah.
But the Kershaw stuff was cool.
Mhm.
The Henry Aaron tribute was really good.
Mhm.
And it was a nice game because you had younger guys, and they actually tried to play hard.
Right.
I cared.
I would say it did feel like this All-Star game and home run derby felt like it had a little bit more juice. I know it's always the only thing going on besides Summer League, but even in years past, it didn't feel like as many people cared, obviously, relatively speaking. Going on social media, all these people are actually talking about it. And it's always the same time of year. I felt like more people cared this year for whatever reason. So that's good.
Yeah, I know the place emptied out pretty quickly. If you noticed at the end, there's foul ball to the left field line, tie game in the ninth inning. Ooh, there's a lot of people that went home.
Yeah.
I get it. I know it's later.
Sunday, you got to fly out. And
Sunday.
It's a Tuesday. you. No, you know what he did, Whitey.
I don't know what happened.
He was talking about his Sunday, and he had to fly out.
Yes. It's a Tuesday. Well, that makes even more sense. It's a weekday. It's a Tuesday.
Right.
So that's
what you meant. That's on me.
Otani was already flying over Louisiana. He was on his way to Los Angeles.
So, do you have any thoughts on the starters leaving early? That must annoy you then.
No, that's fine.
How?
It's the All-Star game.
So
Whitey, your take is very confusing.
Whitey.
Yeah.
See, I don't even know if we're the opposite because I didn't have a problem with the swing off. I really didn't have any feelings on it, but and I don't even need Shohei and Judge to be in the swing off, but it's just kind of lame to me that they left, which they've probably been doing for years.
Yeah, I would think so.
But now that it gets revealed, Susan Slusser, it might be nice if, your starters had stayed. Those dudes are not swinging after sitting for 2 hours.
Right.
They're just not.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a problem with them not playing. I was taken back a little bit by them not staying till the end. But, I mean, ultimately, I wasn't up in arms about it.
Yeah, that really didn't bother me. I get it. And I understand that because it's the All-Star game, as you say, you have the swing off. Nobody wants it. You don't want any more stress put on anybody's pitchers or anything like that. I understand that. I just was really looking forward to a little extra innings All-Star baseball.
Okay.
The All-Star game I went to, Alan, 1987 in Oakland, 13 innings. Nationals 2, Americans 2.
And
Timmy Raines, the MVP.
And that's when it still mattered.
Yeah.
It still mattered.
That thing just kept on going. I didn't know if we'd ever get out of there.
And how ridiculous was it that, the AL won, so they get home field. That's ridiculous.
I was actually the only person in the world in favor of that.
Why?
Because it meant something, and otherwise it's just random. You
Yeah,
know,
it's an
they used to just
exhibition.
go random. Like every 1 year it's an American League, next year it's a national.
Would you do that in the NBA?
In the All-Star Game, no, because in the NBA everybody plays each other, so best record makes sense more. Back then, National League and American League didn't play. No,
What's the
you're right.
difference?
I'm just being honest with you. I didn't mind that. I know everyone hated it, and that's why they're not doing it anymore.
Yeah, and who knows? They might bring it on back.
I doubt it.
The challenge system being in the All-Star Game was interesting.
It worked.
Yeah, it worked.
I hated it until I saw it. It's like, ooh, okay.
It's pretty, because obviously, the River Cats do it and other levels are doing it. They did it in spring training. It's a lot quicker than what people think.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty, okay, cool. You
Yeah.
move on and you just challenge it and keep the at-bat going. It's better than the NBA challenges.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but they asked Scooble about it at his press conference before the All-Star Game. And he said, I'm not going to use it. Well, he definitely he used it right away.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm not interested in that. I'm not going to use that.
Yeah.
Well, he did.
Yeah, then he did.
I loved the one where Edwin Diaz, I think it was the 9th inning, threw it to Arozarena, and it would have been strike 3, but they called it a ball, and they challenged it, and they got it, and then he was like laughing at Arozarena.
It was a strike by an eighth of an inch or something.
Yeah, less than Brent Rooker at the home run derby, but I thought it was funny that he was like making fun of Arozarena, like, I got you.
Yeah.
You thought you had another pitch, but I was smart.
Yeah.
What's coming up on the show today?
Today we're going to talk to Matt Mayoko about everything going on with the 49ers. We're also going to talk about Dennis Schroeder's time with the Pistons. Omari Sankofa is going to be with us, and he writes about the Pistons for the Detroit Free Press.
Okay.
So find out what Schroeder brought to the Pistons and whether or not they wanted to keep him, which my understanding is they did indeed.
Yeah, and maybe they just didn't want to keep him at $15 million a year, or maybe not 3 years. I'm not sure, but I'm sure we'll get all those answers. So
yeah, and we'll see if the Kings can, hold on here.
You should have been out there in Vegas with us.
Sounds like I missed quite a time, Alan.
You did. You really did. But we'll see you out there next year.
Okay.
By the way, they've closed the gap now. It is a 1-point game.
Oh,
Cleveland just made a roaring comeback right now. Isaac Jones, 17 points, 8 of 11 from the field right now.
Tyrese Proctor's playing well for the Cavs, too. Turnover, Sacramento.
There you go.
Their second leading scorer is, I think this is his name, Tavion Kinsey for the Kings. Yes, Tavion Kinsey, 12 points off the bench right now.
Mm-hmm.
No, Mason Jones, of course, but Maxime Reynaud is playing back with that wrist soreness. Yeah, we talked to Sean Cunningham earlier today, and shout out to Sean for hosting a show of his own.
That was unusual.
Yes, on Sacktown Sports here. But he sat down with Scott Perry, talked about Malik Monk, talked about Keegan Murray, and the biggest thing with Keegan Murray that I would say is we saw, a couple different breakdowns defensively. And how I look at Keegan Murray is I just used 2 players. I used Herb Jones. I'm from the same team.
Let me guess. One of them is probably like Randy
No,
Rosarena.
this was a normal one.
And the other one's like Justin Herbert.
No, this was a normal one. And it was basically... And it's Justin Herbert and Paolo Banchero, by the way.
Okay, my
and
mistake.
Looking at Trey Murphy III and Herb Jones, right? And how Herb Jones offensively is not where Trey Murphy III is. I would say Herb Jones really more just classic 3-and-D. Trey Murphy III being more, okay, we might have something here as an offensive player, and he can play some good defense. And at what point are we going to find out what direction Keegan goes in? Sean said that doesn't feel as if the Kings are gonna be afraid or have any issue with paying Keegan Murray. So I think we should see something about that pretty soon here. And also from the trading standpoint, Sean just doesn't use the word untouchable, but he would say it felt as if, and it's what's been reported, but he got a 20-minute sit down with Scott Perry, they are very motivated to keep him on the roster.
Sure.
It
That's
would have
good
to
news.
be, yes.
That's
So,
good to know because I was hoping that was the case. And it makes sense based on what we think we know about the way Scott Perry's running things. So that's reassuring to me.
yes, definitely. And actually, after this show, I'm going to finish the rest of the interview, and I'm sure there's a lot of good nuggets in there. I believe Sean said Malik was brought up as well. Why do you know what I was thinking?
I don't. I never know.
No,
even
know.
when you tell me.
I'll be honest with you.
Last night was Sunday.
Yeah. Devin Carter. Yeah, I know. That was crazy. Devin Carter as a point guard has impressed me a little bit. It's a little.
I can't believe that. I mean, that's for you. That's saying a lot.
It is a little.
Remember when you were a 7 on the panic meter?
Yeah, I'm at. Well, we're still at about a 2 or a 3.
That would be.
You're
like
even lower than me now. How did that happen?
I got to double check, but
I was at a 3. How are you at a 2 now?
We'll see how he does in this.
Tell me why.
Because I didn't expect, and I used the throwback term of touching the paint and spraying it. I didn't expect him to be able to do that as often as he's doing it. I don't know how it will look against NBA defenders, but even from a starting point, I didn't expect him to be able to get into the paint as easily and be able to find the open man. It's a little just, and I'm not, this is a positive, but it's a little one-trick pony, which is kind of where I would put Malik in that two-man game, which we've learned is, okay, Malik's really good at the two-man game. That does not mean he is a really good point guard. We kind of, I'll just say myself, I've learned that the hard way. I think a lot of others did as well. But I didn't even think Devin had that. And what he's doing is a skill that I think you can definitely expand upon. I don't know how much time he'll get as a point guard this season, but I was impressed with what I saw.
Yeah, I think one thing you've talked about that you're right on the money on is that when he was in college, no one was saying, this guy's a point guard. You go back, look at the scouting reports. A lot of people said he's a combo guard, not really a point guard. So for the Kings now to ask him to do this, and Scott Perry talked about that in the last game when he was on with Mark Jones doing the live interview. He said, yeah, we want him to learn to play point a little more. It's really hard.
Yes.
It's very difficult what they're asking him to do. And I'm with you. So far, I think he's done a really nice job with playing point, but playing it the way he's got to play it.
Exactly. And he's not going to be, the fix, if you will. But hey, it's just like in this industry, Whitey, you got to be able to do different things. Back in the day, I'm just a writer. I just write articles, and you can still kind of do that, but you got to hop on podcasts. You got to do different things, right? And that's kind of
diversify.
Yeah, even in radio, you got to do different things. And we saw that with Keon Ellis last season. Keon Ellis was the guy. He's going to be our point guard. It didn't look like this.
Yeah.
It didn't look like this, and there wasn't as much of an emphasis because they still had De'Aaron and Malik, but it didn't look like how it looks with Devin Carter. So I'm pleasantly surprised.
That's nice to hear.
I just, we're going to end on a good note.
I would rather have Devin Carter than Kuminga, me personally.
You keep saying that at the very end, so we can't discuss it. But one of these days, I'm just going to, as soon as you sit down, we're going to spend the whole crosstalk
I look forward to
on it. Thank you to Sean Cunningham for being on the show and for hosting a segment. Thank you to Brendan Nunez for hopping on and helping as well. Thank you to Kyle for working through everything. Great job as always. Thanks to all the callers, texters, sack chatters. Congrats to our Monster Jam Freestyle Mania winner. You will have 2 more chances because today is Wednesday, not Sunday. And until then, secure the bag like the bean.
Don't forget about my podcast.
Carmichael Dave here for my friends at American Energy Heating and Air. Yes, I always tell you they are a family-owned operation, been in business since 81, A-plus Better Business Bureau, but it is hot. We are in those Sacramento hot months. I want to focus on them being your second opinion partner. What does that mean? Maybe you've got somebody you're working with or you've worked with in the past in the HVAC world. Guess what? They want to give you a second opinion. How much does it cost? Nothing. You call them up and say, hey, can I get a second opinion on this deal? They come out and they either say, wow, that's a great deal. You should feel better about that. Or they say, we can beat that price. And usually they're going to beat it by a lot. Guess what? You just saved money and it didn't cost you anything to find out. It's a no-lose